Hello, 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 everybody. It's so good to see all of your digital non-existent faces in the chat. Welcome back to Transplanar RPG. If you don't know what we are an all transgender, people of color-led, 100% homebrew, Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition live-streamed actual play campaign set in the original, non-colonial, anti-orientalist world of Andake. I am your GM and executive producer, Connie Chong. My pronouns are they, he, and she. You can find me on Twitter and TikTok at by Connie Chong, as you can see on this little name box below. I'm going to pass along introductions to C up top.
Hey y'all, my name's C. I use they, them pronouns. I am a dancer, digital artist, tabletop streamer. You can find me anywhere on the internet at Pi Sharp Art, making very trans, very gay art. I stream occasionally on Twitch and make some TikToks sometimes at Pi_Sharp. And I will pass things over to Max.
Hey everyone, I'm Max. My pronouns are they, them. I am on the internet sometimes at Starchmonger, like on Instagram and sometimes TikTok. And I'll pass it to Erica.
Hi, everybody. I'm Erica, she, her pronouns. I play Vinox Scherzo, and you can find me at Erica New Girl anywhere that I exist on social media. I'm a Twitch streamer. I speedrun Resident Evil 7. Come watch as I try to get top 20, baby. With that, I will pass it up to Humna.
Hello, everyone. My name's Humna. I use any and all pronouns, and I am a TTRPG performer. You can find me on Twitter at @shahid_, where I talk about all of the different projects that I'm a part of. So if you like what I do, definitely follow me there. And I will pass it along to Quinn.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Quinn. I use they, she pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Quintastic_, where I yell about TTRPGs and gay shit. I don't know. And I play Sitlali, who uses they, she pronouns as well. And I'm going to pass it to Dare.
Hi, I'm Dare, resident problem child. She, they, and neo pronouns all fine for me. You can find me on Twitter, TikTok, and most other things online at NBDare for now. ENBYDARE. Yeah, I'm going to throw it over to Austin.
I'm muted for my first intro. I love it. This is great. This is fantastic. Hey, everybody. I'm a professional, and my professional name is Austin, and my professional pronouns are he, they, and she. Those are also my personal pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Sailor Scott Austin. That's at Sailor STT Austin, not fully spelled out. I'm on Twitter, and I yell, and I write for games, and I have a podcast. Come find me on Twitter. You'll see all the stuff I do. That's what I have a pen post for.
Yes, everyone here is super cool, and we should all check everyone out and follow all of us immediately if you aren't already. So, hello, thank you for tuning in to the Arc 4 Interlude of our main D&D campaign, The Second Stranger. We stream every Saturday at 7, that's right, we're changing the time slot, 7 p.m. U.S. Central Time with alternating parties of 4. So for the full Second Stranger story and experience, tune in every Saturday and follow our 8 main characters in their quest to restore balance to Andake and kick some apocalypse ass. Speaking of kicking butt, but in the retroactive sense, C, would you like to tell our audience about our podcast?
Yes, what an odd way to say literally anything about that. Connie, thank you so much. Just as a reminder, our podcast episodes release every Tuesday at the ass crack of dawn. We are currently wrapping up Arc 2 and are only a few weeks away of embarking on Arc 3. We are catching up slowly but surely. So leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, wherever you pod your cast. It really, really helps. And just as a reminder, we have a Patreon page where you can get early access to those podcast episodes and all of our bonus content, which includes access to character journals, monthly gaming nights, and monthly cast Q&As. They're very exciting. You can also get your tabletop OC in this campaign. It's really cool, actually. So if you're into that, use the !Patreon command in chat. I don't know why I keep saying it like that. I'm so sorry, Connie. Please take this away from me.
Yes, thank you. I'm gonna snatch the mic from you. So a big thank you, speaking of Patreon, to our Patreon Paragons. These are patrons pledged to our highest tier on Patreon, $25 a month. Wow, thank you so much. You are the light of our lives and the beaming beacon of hope in our hearts. So our Paragons are as follows: Abigail Reitel, Azura, Brooke Bright, Charles, Chiacres, Cora Eckert, Lex Slater, Marvelous, Mitzi, Moonflower Tea, Purple Mouse, Risa, Rue, and Target. Brand new patron. Hello, thank you for pledging at our Paragon level. So as usual, here is a haiku I've written just for our Patreon Paragons. 575, let's count the syllables, babe, for the potluck episode. Potluck episode. What could possibly go wrong? Nothing bad at all. There we go. 575. Manifesting. Speaking of supporting our cast and what we do, we have donation incentives for today, as you can see in the dono bar up there. We have a $500 goal, and we've got little incentives along the way. So at $200, which is only $50 away, we're going to unlock Duran's private character journal in our secrets channel. Ooh, it's already filled with all sorts of juicy, very sad pining, some romantic poetry, some really angsty drabble, what have you. And we are going to unlock it live in chat in our Discord if and when we hit that goal. Only $50 away at $200, and another $50 away from that at $250. We're gonna unlock Gentle's journal, also filled with all sorts of interesting thoughts. And at $300, we're unlocking Sitlali's journal. And at $400, we're going to be unlocking all of our Paragon PCs brand new character playlists. I know C's been working on a brand new Prince Oka Hien playlist for like weeks and weeks and weeks now, and I can't wait to share it with the world. So when we hit 400, that's every Paragon PC Spotify playlist released. And at 450, we're unlocking the Hounds character playlist. So for Duran, Sitlali, and Gentle. And the grand prize for today, if we hit $500, 500, we are going to unlock an Abiku Ishtar backstory one-shot. That's right, Austin's character. We're going to meet her today, but you're going to meet her even more through this special bonus Arc 4/Arc 5 episode if we unlock $500. So please give if you can, and support these incredible new cast members on The Second Stranger, because this is our formal introduction to each other in the world of Transplanar. So let's make some noise and give some money, because thank you for that. Thank you for your support. And now moving on to the session itself. Previously on The Second Stranger, I know a lot of things have happened. The Paragons foiled the plot to kill Emperor Zhen of Tulong, Oka's mother-father, and the Paragon of Mengshen Zhidi, the god of knowledge and dreams. The Paragons are safe for now, but the URL and the Chrysalis lurk in the shadows. Meanwhile, the Hounds make the long journey to Dr. Oluso's homestead at the edge of the Euclid Chasm, preparing to infiltrate the criminal underground in Dabathati to rescue Bud, their beloved direwolf. And our stories converge now in our Arc 4 Interlude potluck episode title, You're the Only Warm Thing for Miles. This title is taken from the poem I'm Going Back to Minnesota Where Sadness Makes Sense by Denez Smith. And as always, the titles of all of our episodes are taken from works of art by marginalized creators. The full verse for this title reads as follows. Everything around you is light and it's gorgeous, and if you stay too long, it will kill you. It's so sad, you know. You're the only warm thing for miles, and the only thing that can't shine. Content warnings for this upcoming episode include fantasy violence, discussion of death and killing, apocalypse, trauma, complex and complicated relationships, active flirting between PCs and NPCs, romance, kissing, references to sexual entanglements, vivid descriptions of food, alcohol served, and smoking. And as always, use !CW for a full list of content warnings in chat, and !safety for a list of our cast's lines and veils so you know what content will never cross into, no matter how dark things get. So, with that out of the way, let's begin. There is a cottage in northern Talmud, perched on the edge of the Euclid Chasm. Its walls are made from wood and stone, its shingles carved from glazed ceramic. Chickens huddle in a nearby pen, scritching the dirt for worms. Training dummies stand vigil over a tract of tilled earth. Under the shade of a large, handsome barn, a small bloat of hippos sloshes around in a puddle of mud. And above it all, above the curling eaves of this cottage, above the coiling strands of smoke gushing from the chimney, we see a slate-gray sky. Evening begins to fold her tenebrous hand over the horizon. Starless dark looms on the threshold like an unwelcome guest. The ground is hard with midwinter frost, little crystals rhyming on the bare branches of fruit trees. We push in now, in on a foggy window of the cottage, to see a kitchen. A quaint little kitchen, all hexagonal tile and hanging bundles of herbs currently bustling with life. Cooking utensils move of their own accord, swathed in a faint, glowing blue light. A knife dices onions. A spoon stirs a simmering pot of stew. An oven mitt places honey-glazed turnips into a stove. We smell roasting meat, bubbling spices, crackling fat. And in the midst of all this organized chaos, we see Dr. Hitsagetan Oluso, the most beautiful and handsome person you've ever laid eyes on. They're a brown-skinned human with a mop of messy blonde hair shaved on the sides, wearing a grease-stained lab coat. His inquisitive blue eyes are currently furrowed in deep concentration behind their glasses. She's studying a recipe scroll. Let's do 2 tablespoons of butter for the bisque, please. And don't forget to devein the cave fisher tail. A knife waggles annoyedly in response in midair, and then slams down to cleave the pale tail of a monster part on top of a cutting board. And still studying the scroll, Dr. Oluso effortlessly steps to the side as a floating cluster of washed, peeled, and cut potatoes happily plop themselves into a bubbling stew. And he glances up from his recipe just in time to see something beyond the steamed-up, sweating window. Their eyes light up, and a smile spreads across their face. They're here! Everyone? Hey, they're here! And now, we cut back outside, back into the chill of midwinter. We push past the shivering chickens, past the muddied hippos, past the fallow vegetable beds, past the wooden archway and its low rock fence, and into a copse of hardy cottonwood and juniper trees, where 5 paragons are currently making their way toward Dr. Oluso's cabin. We focus in now on one of them, Rev, a tall, imposing, muscular drow woman, once dead, reanimated by vengeance, dressed in studded leather armor, a cape of tar black feathers washing down her broad back. She's driving 2 spotted sangha cows draped in woven blankets and pulling a covered wagon along. And Rev is calling ahead. Oka! Hey, Oka! Grade 8. And now we cut to Oka. So Oka, why don't you tell us, what do you look like and what are you doing?
I am so intimidated to go first all of a sudden. I think we start with the thundering of hooves as Oka rides their elk full tilt in kind of a zigzag as they're charging forward, and their weight shifts on top of the elk kind of effortlessly, like they know exactly where its muscles are. And they could hear its heartbeat kind of thrumming along in their own. And they are dressed in traveling clothes right now. They have on this kind of like black, simple armor with a long black cape shrugged over their scarred arms. They have a slate gray skin, look to be a half-drow, save for the blue double-pupiled eyes and the series of many, many jagged scars, the most notable of which is a long scar that bisects their lip, which is currently cracked open wide in this triumphant smile, I think, as they lift themselves up like out of the stirrup, grab onto one of their elk's horns, and catapult themselves like forward and off. And as they do, they reach behind their back to grab Dream Hunter, the Emperor's sword, this beautiful jade-hilted, scaled longsword that they bring out in one swift motion and plunge into the head of the fucking chicken boy that they found in the forest near Dr. Oluso's house, and just kind of land on it.
The chicken boy lets out a horrifying death keel. And there's like kind of like a wet sticking noise as Dream Hunter cleaves through its fleshy, pallid body, and like blood splashes across the leaves of the juniper trees nearby, and you completely just eviscerate this sad little empty monster.
Yep, and then because they are just an absolute nightmare, I think the elk kind of like runs a little bit and then turns and comes back to them. They look back at the covered wagon as they reach their hand right into the monster. They know where these soul bags are at this point, and they just like pull this one out and they kind of wave it at Rev, who's driving the wagon.
Yeah, Rev pulls the Sangha cows up next to you. She like pulls them to a halt and like holds out a hand, and rippling into existence is this scythe, this black-handled scythe with a silver blade, Grim, that she just kind of, with irritation drawn across her face, swipes across in front of you and just harvests the souls inside the soul bag.
What do you look so grouchy about? Isn't this our whole job?
Yes, but this is the equivalent of, I don't know. Dewey, what's a good metaphor here? When we're chasing after chickens when we need to focus on a forest, or is that how it goes?
Why? I'm not the one to ask about figurative language.
I think
Dewey's
like we
poking his
pan,
head out of.
yeah, we pan over to like the canvas flap of this covered wagon to see Dewey poking your head out and talking. So Dewey, why don't you tell us, what do you look like and what are you doing in this moment?
Dewey is wearing like a little knitted hat. He's wearing a puffy jacket that makes him like twice as wide as he usually is, because he's not good with the cold. Inside the wagon, he's packing up, because it's been a long journey, and he's just sort of like set up camp inside the wagon, and he's just packing everything up. And he pokes his head out and is like, "Oko, were you holding on? We haven't seen those things for like at least half an hour. Were you holding on to that just so you could kill it in front of Dr. Oluso's house?"
Oka blushes. No, I wasn't. No, I like to chase it down. It's more fun that way. And they quickly remount their elk.
Yeah, your elk snorts and I think stomps on like the still twitching body of the chicken boy, and some gore puffs up. And I think maybe like we push past Dewey to see V. So V, why don't you tell us, what do you look like and what are you doing?
So at the back of the wagon is one Vinox Scherzo, elf woman with sort of alabaster skin, but her hair is a wild mess of purples and green streaks in her white hair. On the frame of her face are green scales, and she's got one green eye and one purple eye. And if you look close enough, you can still see threads in her skin from a few weeks ago where Scott and Nectus literally stitched her back together as she was disintegrating in the nothing plane. And she's wearing her Paragon clothes. That's kind of just her chill moments. Green shirt, brown pants with some body armor over it with like spikes that almost resemble dragon teeth coming out of the shoulder pads. And she is looking out of the back of the wagon, and she's being a little bit emo. She is literally staring at the skyline, being like, if you could hear inside of her head, it's like, I remember what sunsets looked like. I miss sunsets. I won't get to see a sunset before I die. And she just like lets out a big sigh every like 5 minutes, almost reminiscent of Arc 1 where she was sighing out of boredom, but now it's sighing every 5 seconds because of, confronting her horrible fate as Paragon. Emo V confirmed. And she's surrounded by some boxes of some things that she is bringing for said meal.
I like that. Yeah, I think Rev starts driving the oxen alongside Oka's elk, but actually turns to the side where we see Manaya sitting next to Rev. And Rev says, do you mind holding this for a second? I just need to, sort of jerks her head toward the ever-sighing, grief-struck V. Manaya just sort of nods understandingly as Rev hands the reins off. And Rev's just going to sort of shimmy along, I think, the canvas flap before, wait a minute, realizing she can teleport and disappears in like a whirl of black feathers and reappears on the back of the wagon next to you, V. Hey, almost back at Dr. O's.
Oh yeah, that this will be nice. It's been so long since we've been here. Yeah, no, this is great. I'm looking forward to this.
Rev silently puts an arm around your shoulder and pulls you close, right? Like pulling the cape of feathers around you as well, with a flutter of warmth. And I think like we just sort of hear the clopping of hooves over, I think, like twigs and packed, hardened winter earth as Oka's elk with Oka astride it. Dream Hunter, I think, never gets dirty. So even when you cleave this like chicken boy, like the blood just sort of sloughs off the blade as you sheath it. I assume, back on the scabbard perched on your shoulder. And we just sort of like pull out as we see like the paragons approach this archway at the edge of Dr. Oluso's property of their homestead. And as the elk sort of ducks its antlers to get underneath the archway and the cow sort of like across the threshold, we like push back into the hustle and bustle and warmth of the cottage to find Geron. Geron. I think Dr. Luso's voice has reverberated throughout the cottage, proclaiming that they're here. They finally arrived. What do you look like and where do we find you?
So I think that Geron actually doesn't really hear what Dr. Oluso has said, because what Geron has been doing lately is just burying himself in books. Like, books, research, all of that, and that's all his mind has been on for pretty much ever since he's gotten here to Dr. Oluso's. So today, what you can find him is, he did dress up a little bit, knowing that the Paragons were coming, so he's wearing this like black collared shirt that's like unbuttoned a little on the top with these like nice like loose pants, and he walks into the kitchen with this book in his hand, and he's like looking at the book, and he goes into the kitchen and he says, Dr. O, have you read this one yet?
And you see like Dr. O sort of like in the middle of like, they're like conducting the kitchen, right? There's like a dozen different implements and utensils and like food moving around. Oh, careful! And they gesture for you to duck.
And Geron like ducks immediately.
Make a dex save.
Why you gotta make me do this? Okay, let's see. I got a 22.
A flock of little paring knives like shoot over your head, I think, and you easily dodge them, right? As they like begin to like go over to a bunch of like carrots and start chopping them up, like mincing up the carrots. Oh, sorry about that. Which book is that?
It says something about the Paragon War, like the first one.
The Paragon War, yes, of course, during the Gambit of Queens. I'm sorry, Geron, like I told you, for the past 8 days or so, the books that you're reading now are the books I've already pored over for hours and hours. There's no new information, I'm afraid, I can give you.
No, but there's a passage here that you haven't marked up. You've marked up pretty much every corner of this book, and there's a passage here specifically that doesn't have anything. Are you sure you read this? It says something about,
Let me see. And Dr. Oluso gestures for you to bring the book over. They flip to the aforementioned passage, and they pause, and they say, yes, this passage. I didn't mark it up because it seems to only really recount the romantic exploits of Shuhai Miao, so I didn't think it was relevant.
It could be important. You never know. That could be the key that we need in order to understand what happened.
I don't know if
There's so
Shuhai
many
Miao's...
gaps in... There's so many gaps in the timeline of the first Paragon War, and what if this romantic relationship between Shuhai Miao and their partner is important?
I know you're a, romantic, Geron. Just based on my observations of, and what Mercy said to me, sorry, this isn't a value judgment. I'm just saying, I do believe in the value of romance and love. I do. I think, that's what makes us people, but I doubt that, love story is going to shed new information on our current campaign to save the world that we don't already have access to. They sort of snap the book closed and gesture to hand it back to you.
Geron kind of like takes it a little sharply. Dr. Oluso, any information we can get might be important. That's all I'm saying.
I understand. After dinner, maybe I'll look over the passage again with you. How about that?
Okay. Sorry, what was it that you said earlier?
They're here. They're
Who's
coming.
here?
Oka
What?
and
Geron
Manaya
runs to the window.
Yeah, and Geron, as you book it to the kitchen window, I think we push past you to find Gentle. Gentle, why don't you tell us what you look like, where you're at?
Yeah, so very much Triton, nice and blue, got the green hair going. I actually don't bundle up extra in winter because I don't really get cold like that. I just have a little bit of fur lining on my cloak, but still dressed pretty light, wearing a lot of baggy clothes. I'm probably just helping Dr. O get some of the cooking. I've been kind of nervous watching all it flying around, and I've just been do you need someone to season or prep cook at all?
Gentle, there you are. And Dr. Oluso turns as Duran rushes past them. What you've been doing has been extremely helpful. Though I should probably put the knives and some of the utensils down and greet our friends who are coming back for now.
I mean, do you want to say I can help prep the food? I can stay in here and prep. A little nervous.
No, I've got the situation handled. They say as like another knife like flies right past their ear and I think like lodges back into a chopping block and like chops off a little bit of their hair, but they don't seem to notice.
Okay, if you need any help, just call me. I can run in here pretty quickly and just start picking knives out of the air, I guess. Okay. Well, it was fun helping cook. Thank you for your hospitality. I'll go say hi to everyone, and like I start backing up, just mostly, and like already getting incredibly like nervous.
Is your mask on or is it off?
I don't have my mask anymore.
Oh right! I forgot. You're totally right. You're right. Wu Ming has it. Even I forgot about Wu Ming. Okay. Gentle. You begin to back out of the kitchen, and I think Dr. Oluso calls after you. Oh, Gentle, actually something that would be helpful is if you could set the table. That would actually be immensely helpful.
Okay. Do we have a set seating thing, or do you want me to?
Oh, no, you can just decide. I made those little placards for everyone's names, so you can just put them wherever you think is good.
Okay. I can do that. Bye.
Gentle, you awkwardly. Yeah. You like nervously back out of the kitchen. I think we push past you, like sort of creeping out of the threshold to find Sitlali. Sitlali, what do you look like and where are you during this?
I think Sitlali is probably in the bedroom that they have definitely been sharing with Mercy. I think they're still comfortable in their short phase, so they're about 5'2". She has like this long, flowing, like multicolored pastel hair with pink eyes and typically a black lip because a bitch loves aesthetic. And these like thigh-high black boots with like gold accents to it to match their nice black and gold scale mail that they have on. And they have a cane now, and they have the lightning scars from the Vinosh incident TM have faded slightly, but they're still like angry and very present. Sitlali is just kind of sitting on the bed and staring, and hears Dr. Oluso and just goes, Fuck. I don't want to see her again. I don't know. What do I say? What do I do? What do you say when you do that to someone? I don't.
Hey. And Mercy, your girlfriend, sort of like gets up like next to you on the bed and like scoots closer to you. And I think the only actual, if this is okay with you, Quinn, the only bed in the cottage is in Dr. Oluso's private room that they very awkwardly offered to you and Mercy. You know, they're just sleeping sort of in the barn with the rest of the hounds, I think. So you're in like Dr. Oluso's private bedroom that they were very careful about, like, please don't touch my stuff, right? So there's like this like kind of cozy bed that's a pull-out, I think. Like you can like sort of like push the bed up and fit into the wall because they use the rest of this space as like an office, right? So the bed has been pulled down. It's quite small, maybe only the size of like a twin XL or something, right? The rest of it is just like papers everywhere, like material components for spells, like books everywhere, scrolls like stacked into the walls. Like there's like a little like floating globe of light that just seems to change different colors and make weird noises randomly, and you and Mercy have not figured out how or why it works. And Mercy sort of sidles next to you. Hey, Sitlali, you're gonna be okay, all right? Everything's gonna be fine. Everyone's gonna come back. It's good. It's a good thing.
He's probably gonna kill me. I mean, like, she should kill me. I mean, no, should I kill her? No, we tried that.
You're talking about Rev here, right?
Yeah.
She's the paragon of the Raven Queen. She's not supposed to take life without it being its preordained time, right? Or whatever.
Or whatever, my entire religion, Mercy. But
no,
yeah.
That's not what I... And you're, the Raven Queen likes you. She gave you your magic back, the feather thing.
Yeah, yes. But that doesn't mean Rev likes me. So,
Well, why don't you give her a peace offering? It is, Dr. Oluso says something about a potluck tonight, right? So maybe you could talk to her, try to, just make sure you're on the same page.
Or, hear me out, I could just not be there.
Sidlali, you're a part of the Hounds. You're my second. You have to be there.
Okay, you're right. I am your second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like, what if you had a different second with like a different name?
Well, I
and
did have a.
face?
I had one once. Their name was Oka, and I
Yes,
think
do
it would
regrettably
be.
remember that.
It would be weird if I suddenly had a third second.
Would it?
I think it would. I think Rev's expecting you to be here. Maybe she even
Oh,
wants to
Rev-
talk.
Why would she want to talk to me? The last time we talked, I tried to kill her.
And then you guys made it up, right? Like the Raven Queen spoke
Raven
for her.
Queen and I. Yeah, the Raven Queen and I made up, but like Rev and I didn't really talk after that. So like, how does that? I mean, like, how does that even work with Paragons? Like, do
Maybe she
they-
forgot. Maybe she doesn't know. Maybe she doesn't remember who you are. I mean, people forget people all the time. It's
No, Mercy,
normal.
that's you.
Ugh. Are you still hung up on Wuming?
Everyone is still hung up on Wuming.
I think I hear Dr. Oluso calling again. You know what? Let's go downstairs, and we should probably give them their office back because everyone's gonna be staying here and sleeping. And
Fine, yes, but I can't.
or
See,
we could
we'll see what
enjoy one last. I mean, if we're not gonna be using the bed anymore, just a
You know,
quick-
you're
just a
so-
quickie, just real fast.
Like 10 minutes tops.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay.
I think we cut out as like Mercy, moves in to kiss you. We like cut back down. Max looks traumatized. Max looks literally traumatized.
Over my salad.
we
How long has it been? It's been like 10 minutes since we started. What happened?
The hounds have arrived.
How many sex scenes are we allowed to have?
Are we allowed to have as many as we want, Max?
How many
Real-
scenes do we have today?
Okay. We cut back downstairs, I think, to the front porch of Dr. Oluso's cottage. The elk and the cows begin like rolling up, right? Manaya sort of draws the cows to a halt, and Oka, your elk, sort of snorts, sort of like paws at the ground as it passes by like the chicken pens, right? And the chickens all sort of cluck by like the wire fencing and like look very curiously and interestedly at this new party arriving. And then all of you paragons see the door creak open, like fling open, and like warm light spills out. And silhouetted against the threshold is Dr. Oluso. And I think they've put on a little apron, a little Kiss the Chef apron, actually. They're like quickly like putting it on, like tying it up behind their waist. It has a hand-stitched embroidered image of a cave fisher, which is sort of like a cross between a scorpion and a lobster. It's like one of the many creatures indigenous to the Euclid Chasm that like lurk in its depths. It's sort of like it's a terrifying monster, but it's been yassified and made really cute on this apron, and it's got its little claws up and like a little heart over it that says kiss the cave fisher. Dr. Oluso goes, Oka, Manaya, Dewey, V, Rev, hi.
Hey, Doc. And Oka, they did their hair. It's fine. They swing right off the elk and kind of land beside it and hold on to the reins and draw it a little bit closer.
Yeah, Dr. Oluso gestures for you to come in and says, oh, actually, Squeak, there are animals. Do you mind taking the animals to the... And I think all of you just hear a very annoyed voice cut through the outdoors. Yes, I'm here. And sort of like hobbling out, waddling from behind where the hippos are mudding. We all see Squeak, who'd been sort of, I think, like maybe shoveling the hippo manure and like taking care of some farm work. She's got like these working gloves on, right? She's as wide as she is tall. Her orbitous eyes are sort of narrowed as she sees the paragons approach. And she sort of waddles up to all of you, stinking of manure, holding a poop shovel, being like, all right, Oka, I'll take your elk. And I'll take those cows too. Good to see you again.
Oh, no, it's fine. I can take the animals if you're busy, Squeak. Where's are the hounds here?
Yes, they're indoors getting ready for the meal, leaving all the hard work to some other people on the farm. I think they've never seen a lack of good, hard, honest farm work in their life. But hello, Dewey. It's good to see you again.
Hi, Squeak. You want to clean up and we can all have dinner?
Yes, I'm close. I'm close to scooping up all your poop. Would you like to help? Don't worry about it. You just came back. You came back from a very traumatic Paragon assassin attempt. Don't worry about it. Just go inside and enjoy.
We sure did. Thanks, Squeak.
You're welcome. Speaking of trauma, hello, V. I heard about everything that happened in the Nothing Plane.
Oh, hello, Squeak. It's so nice to see you, friend. It's so nice. And V's like climbing out. She's got like a box in each hand, and she has Mage Hand carrying a third box out, and she's balancing them all as she's making her way. Tell me, friend, how are the chickens? Are the chickens okay? Have you been feeding the chickens well? They're my favorite part of the farm.
The chickens are great. The chickens are good. The hippos are good. We renovated the barn, actually. And Napua and Kahelani, actually. And Squeak addresses Manaya. We built a shack for them, sort of like by the northeastern edge over there. So you can go see your parents over there if you want. Come. Let me help bring all the boxes in.
Yeah, and V just works her way to carrying these boxes of goodies towards the house.
Fantastic. Yeah, Squeak hustles and bustles and helps everyone in. Oka, maybe you like hop off your elk and you start like doing whatever you have to do with mounts. I don't know much about elks.
Yeah, Oka can take point on. They get off their elk and start unhooking the saddle and the bridle, and they also start unhitching the wagon to bring the Sangha cattle in. So they're working outside for a moment more, I think.
Fantastic. And I think like Squeak starts to sort of like waddle along, sort of usher Dewey and V and Rev first. Like I think up the steps of the porch as Manaya sort of says goodbye quickly and goes off to like meet with her parents in the shack area by the northeast of the homestead. And that's when Dr. Oluso sort of at the threshold. Oh, hello. Oh, Dewey, it's so good to see you. V, Rev.
To be honest, as soon as Duran saw what was happening outside, they would have like slipped out the back door to go and talk to Oka.
Okay, why don't you make a stealth check?
What's 17 plus 14?
It means no one sees you.
No.
So that means no one sees you. Yeah, Duran, you slip out like a shadow. I think there's like a kitchen door that leads directly out into the chicken coop. So only the chickens don't notice you're there at all. Like you step over the chickens, they just keep clucking. And I think you're able to sidle your way, sort of like a shade, right to where Oka is.
They're doing stuff with leather. They're unstrapping some straps, and they're kind of like putting like a soft hand on their elk as they pat.
I think because of Duran's high stealth roll, if I may, I don't think Oka even notices that they like have entered the barn at all. Duran will just kind of like quietly come up and like for a moment, I think just watch Oka work. And as they see that Oka is like gently patting the elk, they will walk up and he's going to put like one hand like gently over Oka's and just say, "Hello, Oka."
They turn around and try to punch you, I think, just on reflex alone.
Make an attack roll.
Should I?
Yes, do it. Make an attack roll. What's your AC, Duran?
My AC is 15.
Okay. Oka, what'd you get?
I got a 16.
Roll damage. Oh wait, it's
Oh,
unarmed strike. So 1d4.
Yeah,
1d4.
it's just like a D4. 2.
Which damage am I?
It's
Okay, cool.
2.
Yeah.
Ow! Fuck, Duran, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing? You can't sneak up on me like that. Did you forget the part where I was almost assassinated?
Right. Sorry. I just thought you look like you dealt with it.
And I think they do for a moment look like they dealt with it. I forgot to describe, there is a crown on their head, a circlet, this like silver, like thin kind of like wrapping circlet that sits just kind of on their head with a super bright blue sapphire that just sits kind of in the middle of their forehead, which I think you get the like first glimpse of as they like turn to face you all the way. And there's still that bolt of red lightning like up through their eye. And they just look, I miss you so much. And they grab both of Duran's cheeks and kiss them.
And Duran will return the kiss. I think though there's like a little bit of like blood coming out of Duran's nose from the punch.
Oh, it's so romantic for a blood hunter. Oka leans back and kind of like dobs it away. Sorry about that.
What's up with the... And he nods at the circlet.
I might as well just tell you. I got recoronated.
Recoronated. So, wait. I thought you were wanted for treason.
We sorted that out after, it's complicated. I am no longer wanted for treason.
So, what, you're like a prince now?
Less now and more again.
Right. And I think Jeron is like, visibly you can see the math is not mathin'. It's a little difficult for him to sort of like put all of this together, like, Oka's a prince. This is weird. And they just kind of like stare at the circlet for a little while before like kind of like flitting it out of their head and go, okay, does that mean we have to call you like your highness
No,
now
absolutely,
or something?
absolutely. Don't you fucking dare, Jeron. Don't you fucking dare. I can't take it off. And Oka goes to take it off, and they just like throw it like at the barn doors, and as soon as it goes to touch the ground or something that's not Oka's head, it just reappears back on their head. I've been wearing it for days. I don't know how to take it off.
Duran bursts out laughing at that, I think. And he like steps back a little and like does this almost like sarcastic like bow towards Oka. Says,
Don't
well,
even
then,
start with me.
Prince Oka Hien.
Jeron,
Yes, Your Highness.
I'm going to punch you again.
No, this time I know it's coming.
And Oka rolls their eyes and kind of smiles at you again. And they turn back to the elk who maybe was like snorting impatiently and like trying to get into one of the stalls where they can see beautiful, beautiful hay. That's my elk. This is my elk. I got it in the ball, and I've been waiting to name it. I haven't named it yet. I wanted you to name it. I remember you told like a story about an elk once that I thought was like it was really funny.
Yeah, about the time that I pretended to be an elk as a kid. Can't
Yeah.
believe I even told you that story to begin with. I thought Gentle was the only one that knew about that, but
We got really. I mean, it was one of those nights. It was cute. I remembered, and I've been calling it baby, but that doesn't seem quite right.
baby. I mean, it's cute, but and Jeron like walks over to the elk and just kind of like pats it down. It's a beautiful elk. Deserves a beautiful name. How about Sitara? It's Morosi for star.
Yeah, I like that. See, you always have had a way with words.
I've missed you too.
And I think we cut away from the two of you in the barn. Gay ass motherfuckers. Back to the cottage. Where Dr. Oluso, I think, is like welcoming Dewey and V and Rev inside, right? Like the instructions like, oh, please take your shoes off. There's that little rack for you to put your shoes on. And here. And sort of like as Dewey, you cross over the threshold, I assume. Dr. Oluso, without asking, sort of like wipes their hands like down in front of you, and you feel like a little ruffle of warmth as all the cold from outside is sort of like magically whisked away. And I think your feathers like ruffle a little from like the nice heat, right? It's like you were just like given like a nice thermos full of like warm hot chocolate that you just drank down, right? You feel all warmed up inside, and like this little like blue glitter like goes off your feathers. Do you feel better now?
Yeah. Is that a new one?
No, I've always been able to do this. Yes, shoes, please, over there. And Squeak, do you mind taking Dewey's things and maybe gather all the things and run them out to the barn? We just don't have a lot of storage space in the cottage. And they sort of turn, and you see like the sitting area has been taken up by a lot of Mercy's shit. But to you, I don't think you even know who Mercy is necessarily. So you see a bunch of just javelins, like weapons sort of leaned up against a bookshelf. You see like a big sack of like monster parts that's just sort of there, like kind of open with skulls and teeth and whatnot, right? Another like sack of like what appear to be gems and gold, right? Just like the treasure that she travels with all the time on her person. We're a little short on storage space here. But yes, why don't you put all your things off to the side and Dewey, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you too, Dr. O. Sorry, whose stuff is all that?
Oh, yes, that is Mercy's. She is the leader of the Hounds of Mercy, who are Oka's friends, that Oka sent here. They've been living with me, for, I think, the past week or so. Me and Squeak.
Oka would have given the Paragons a little primer and been like, you can't talk about this with Mercy, just please, they would have given a primer for each hound, I think.
Cool. Did a little studying up. Dewey's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll go I'll go find her and introduce
Oh, no, I'll call them down. They should be, I think she and Sitlali were just hanging out in my room. Sitlali, Mercy, and Sitlali. You and Mercy, maybe 7 minutes in, hear your voices being called for by Dr. Oluso. Oh, shit. Sorry, lost track of time.
You may have to.
My love. And Mercy sort of like cups the side of your cheek with her hand. You're going to be okay. All right? Rev is... she's a paragon, but she's not unreasonable. Okay? I'm sure if you just talk to her... good things will happen. And hey, if she tries to give you shit, I'll knock her out. I'll knock her teeth out.
She's a paragon, babe.
Well, here's the thing. She's a big, muscular, honorable paragon, so if I challenge her to a no magic duel, I bet she'd accept, and I bet I'd kick her ass.
You would duel for me?
Of course I'd duel for you.
And I think they just, give Mercy a quick kiss.
All right, just let me pull my trousers on. We're coming, Dr. Oluso. Yep, we're just, we were getting ready. We were putting makeup on. And, Mercy gives you, she's never put makeup on, in her life when she says that.
Do you want me to put makeup on you?
No, please don't. Don't make me a pretty little girl. I don't want that.
As long as you never say those words to me again, I promise I won't.
I don't know where that came from. I'm sorry. Maybe some repressed memories there. All right. She pulls her boots on. Wait, no shoes. She pulls them back off.
She just look like someone else, and then maybe she won't recognize me, and then it'll be fine.
Sitlali. Everyone knows you're a changeling. So if there's some random person acting weird around Rev, don't you think she'd be able to put two and two together?
No.
You know what? Take all the time you need to get ready. I'm gonna go down first so they don't get suspicious or come up here.
How tall is Rev?
Over 6 feet, maybe?
Sitlali just takes a moment to adjust and is Mercy's height, the same height as Mercy, because Mercy's 6 something. Yeah, goes for that and is like, what about that? Is that better? Does that work?
You're longer now. You know what? Yes, it works. If this will get you out of the room and downstairs and mingling with everyone, yes, it works. You look great.
As long as I look more imposing and terrifying and yeah, okay, fine. Fuck it. Let's go. Yeah.
Okay. And you and Mercy open up the door, you start to head downstairs. And I think we cut to downstairs where Dr. Oluso, after calling for Mercy and Sitlali, turned to greet you again, V. V, it's so good to see you. I've missed you.
Yes, Doctor, it's good to see you in person. You're not made of blood.
I know.
It's
I know.
wild.
It's good to actually see you in the flesh as well. And congratulations again on being married.
This V actually blushes a little bit and oh, thank you. Yeah, it's who would have thought I'd be a married, honest woman by now?
I don't know about the honest part, V, but certainly married.
Fair enough. I've got these boxes of treats. Where should I put these?
Oh, yes, just on the dining table. Dr. Oluso turns to look at the dining table, which I think it's an open floor plan here. Past the foyer is the dining table. Is that where we see Gentle setting up the placemats?
Yeah. I've been really hoping no one drew attention to me. Hi. I'll help bring those over, and I go walk over and introduce myself. Hi, I'm Gentle. You must be one of Oka's friends?
Oh, hi there. V puts down her boxes and puts out a hand to shake. Yes, I'm Victoria Noxurza. You can call me V or Vicky or Wendy, whichever. Just call me V.
Okay, V's good. I'm Gentle. Just Gentle.
Well, it's so nice to meet you. Oka was telling us a little bit about you, but it's so nice to meet you in person.
Where is Oka, by the way?
He's dealing with animals. Apparently they're an animal person. Blood and animals, it's their favorite. So
Yeah, that sounds like Oka.
yeah, though they should be back in here soon, hopefully.
Okay. Well, perfect. I'll just keep setting up the plates. I do want to check, are you okay with the placement of the mats and like where everyone's sitting? I was kind of helping adjust these, so if anyone wants to help with that, and I like see Dewey and I just like wave a little.
Dewey waves back and is very, very happy to be given an assignment.
Perfect.
I think at that point, that's when Sitlali and Mercy come downstairs, and Rev is also like, I think, holding the rest of like V's like treats, and like is walking it over and putting it on the dining room table. And that's when like the stairs sort of creak, creak, and we see Mercy sort of come down with Sitlali the same height as Mercy right next to her. Mercy says, "Ah, you must be the Paragons. Nice to meet all of you. I'm Mercy. This is Sitlali, my second."
Oh, I've heard so much about you. V walks over and extends hands.
She looks at your extended hand, doesn't shake it quite yet. We actually met a lifetime ago. Almost a year ago at this point. I don't know if you remember. In Ujad.
Oh, I was hoping you'd forget that. So you are that Mercy?
Uh-huh. One and the same.
I hope you can forgive. I mean, you understand what it's like, the hustle. I was just doing what I had to do.
What are you talking about? This was on right after the cataclysm? Came to Ujad, there was a tooth-spitting monster.
Yep. Yep, sure, yep. That's where I met you. I forgot you about someone else. Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to see you again, V. And like Mercy shakes your hand and then turns her like sort of scarred gaze upon you, Dewey. And I remember you too. Cardew, right?
Dewey's fine. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Rev? And Rev looks up. Mercy? And then Rev looks over to you, Sitlali. Sitlali?
Sitlali is pointedly looking literally anywhere else and just kind of like... I think they turned to V, and, I'm sorry, what were you saying about the hustle? Because I would know a thing or two about that, and, did you try to pull something?
Did I try to pull something? You're Sitlali. Oh, this is so lovely to finally meet you face to face. Hello.
What have you heard?
I think Oka had said that V and Sitlali could not speak. They made it very clear that the two of them should not be put in the same room, and they were like, V, don't talk to Sitlali. Just don't do it.
I just hear that you're wonderful and just an amazing person, and, oh, this is awkward. I'm Rev, hi. You've heard of Sitlali, right, Rev?
We've met.
We've met. I would like to insight check everything V just said about me.
Okay, go for it. V, are you trying to hide it?
Sure, what do I have to roll?
Performance against it. Insight checks are like Sitlali's thing, but also performance checks are V's thing. So I'm really curious to see what happens.
Not when I roll crappily and only roll an 11.
29?
Yeah, so V is definitely lying and knows everything about what happened in the court. Rev has told her everything, and she's trying to put on a brave face and be polite.
I think Sitlali kind of straightens up and goes, "Wonderful person. Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what you've heard."
Well, if it's any consolation, if you've asked around about a Vinox Scherzer, you've probably heard nothing but glowing reviews, so consider it one friend to another friend.
I haven't And I think they kind of turn and try to find literally anything to do.
Mercy actually says, Lolly, I think I forgot something up in Dr. Oluso's room. Do you want to get it for me? The thing,
Yes.
the socks, the special socks
The special socks.
that keep my feet warm. Yeah, because it's winter. Do you want to just
Of
go?
course.
I think it's deep in there, so Lolly's gone for, the rest of the evening trying to find my socks. That's why.
Yep, I'm going, and I just go up the stairs.
Rev leans down to you, V, and says, one moment. And pushes past you and starts to go up the stairs. And I think, Mercy holds out a hand to stop her. Well, hey, buddy, where do you think you're going? I just want to talk to Sitlali. You don't mind, do you? Talk to Sitlali? I don't mind. Do you mind if we... I'd prefer if it was in privacy. Yeah, buddy, I don't think that's such a good idea. Sitlali's looking for my socks in private, and I think we should give her...
Why the hell would you not come outside to say hello to me? And I think this is Oka, pushing in through the kitchen, right?
Oka, you son of a bitch. And, momentarily distracted, Mercy, strides down the stairs and walks forward and gives you a big thump and, a hug, right? I think pulls you up, off of the ground and thumps you on the back, kind of hard, and then drops you back down on the ground.
No, that is so I hate when you do that, okay? Just don't. You don't have to do that. There's no reason for you to do that.
What the fuck is that? And they, pull your crown off.
And as soon as she touches it and brings it off there, it reappears back on their face.
What the? How'd you... And they, try to pull it off again.
Stop touching my face. Stop. Where is Gentle?
Right there. Setting plates.
Hi.
Oka shoves Mercy in the chest and goes and gives Gentle a surprisingly forward and big hug, I think.
I will reciprocate the big hug. Hi, Oka. Prince Oka, I overheard.
Please don't. Please just, I don't. No. It's fine. It's
Okay.
It's good to see you.
Okay. It's really good to see you too. I got to meet V, and I haven't really got to talk to Dewey yet, but your friends are really nice.
I'm glad you think so. Where's Sitlali?
We cut upstairs to Sitlali. I think Sitlali, you have a beat of privacy up in the office, up in Dr. Luso's room. What are you doing with that one crystal moment of silence?
I think they lose the height instantly. In the panic, they just go back to being 5'2", and they're just fuck, shit, fuck. Yeah, I think they just freeze, and their newly acquired bag of holding is just kind of on the ground next to them, and I think they just kind of sit. It's very similar to the last time they met.
And I think you've shrunk down, you're sat there, you're looking at the bag, and the door just opens. No knocking, no announcement, no preamble, just opens. And you see a big woman.
That's a different big woman than I thought it was going to be.
Hi, Sitlali. Can we talk?
Sure.
Rev steps past the threshold and closes the door behind her.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where you and Mercy have been staying. Isn't this Dr. Oluso's room?
Is it?
Yeah. And their eyes sort of fall on the scrying bowl mounted on the wall in front of the desk.
I mean, I can use those too, in fairness.
How have you been since we last spoke?
Fine. Fine. Yeah. How are you? Not dead? Paragon Killer didn't. Yep, that's good.
Well, I am dead. I'm back from the dead, but I'm not dead again.
Yeah, congrats on being not dead again. That's good.
Paragon Killer's dead. Their handler's dead. The spy got away, but I think they were just working for money and curiosity.
Their handler? Who's their handler?
Kilohana, some woman from Uhanahi. Her husband, Dr. Ting. I actually met him back in the court. Around when I met you, I think right before or right after. Sorry, the timeline's so messed up in my head. Long story.
How did they do that? Does Oka still have their... Did they get it back?
Their soul? Or part of
Yeah.
their soul? Yeah,
Yeah.
they have it. On a chisel around their neck. That's actually, I was hoping maybe Oka had mentioned that you had spoken, but you should definitely talk to them about that. I think maybe after dinner, we can all take a look at Oka's chest.
Yeah.
But I'm not here about Oka. I just wanted to, I know you have a fraught relationship with the Raven Queen, and, when we last spoke, you were...
Fraught?
Complicated. How about that? I have a complicated relationship with the Raven Queen, and I'm her freaking paragon.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of being her paragon, though, I just wanted to make sure, you and I were good.
What is good, really, when you think about it? Like...
Not trying to kill each other?
I mean, you have her, so I can't. Not that I would, but like...
Do you want to? Still?
Do you want to, still?
I've never wanted to kill you, Sitlali.
See, I thought the feeling was mutual.
Oh, no. Why? Hold on. You still have the feeling? You're still holding on to?
Which feeling? There are a lot of feelings, Rev.
I'm speaking I've only been speaking about one kind of feeling this entire time, which is a feeling that you want to kill me. Do you still want to kill me? I feel like I deserve to know if you want to kill me.
I honestly haven't really thought about it, because I didn't think this would be happening. Does it really matter if I want to or not, if I'm not going to?
Of course it matters, Sitlali.
I feel like actions speak louder, that's the saying, people say things, and if I'm...
Okay, so you still want to kill me, understood. Loud and clear.
No,
Yep.
I would never, no, because the Raven Queen is, no.
But my question for you, Sitlali, then, is do you want to kill me because of the whole Paragon thing, or is this about Leaf? Because you were her brightest pupil, and one of her closest friends when she was still here with us. I know her death must have hurt you too.
Yeah.
And now
It
I'm
did.
back, and she's still gone. So is that what this is about, or is it about something else?
I think it's safe to say that that's what this is about.
I think maybe like a silence falls for a minute there, as Rev just sort of looks off to the side, her jaw set, her eyes very far away, her mismatched one gold, one black eye. You know what's funny is I think you feel about me the way I feel about Dewey. I don't know if you've actually met Dewey. Long story short, the person, the thing, the creature that killed Leaf was also sent after Dewey, but spared him. And I don't know why. Dewey tried explaining it to me, something about striking a deal. It's known as the Myriad. It's a demon. Emissary of Sen. Which, of course, Oka is the paragon of. It's complicated. For a long time, I harbored a lot of resentment towards Dewey after I found this out, that he and the Myriad had some sort of relationship. Why did the Myriad kill Leaf? Why did he kill me? And spare Dewey? We're both paragons, so that doesn't make sense. Why? But, it's not his fault. It's not Dewey's fault. It's the Myriad's. He's the one responsible for all of this. So I'm trying to get to a place where I don't harbor the same kind of resentment against Dewey that I used to, because I don't think that's healthy for me. For my relationship with V, for my colleagueship with Dewey. I don't want to say friendship. We're not friends.
Relationship with V.
Yeah. We're dating. Like how you and Mercy are, right?
I don't know if I would say that they're the same, but yes, we are dating.
Leaf really loved you, Sitlali, okay? She made that very clear to me, and she made it clear that you were a priority in her life in a different way than I was to her. I wish it hadn't come to this with us, because we both loved her the most, I think. and I wish that brought us closer instead of driving us apart.
You know, sometimes I do wonder what would have happened if I had gone with her instead of you.
Maybe you'd be the paragon of the Raven Queen, and I'd... Here. Rev reaches into the darkness of her cloak, her raven-feathered cloak, and she pulls out a robe. And as soon as she pulls it out from the depths of her cloak, which you figure her cloak maybe acts as like a bag of holding or something, you feel the weave sort of tighten around this robe that Rev retrieves. Why don't you tell us what the robe looks like, actually, as Rev takes it out?
So it's a dark purple, and it has, I feel like on either side of the collar, we'll say collar for the sake of ease, it has 4 big elaborate embroidered stars, and then the interior is just starlight.
This, the Dexai gave this to me. It was Leaf's. It was her robe. It connected her with the Raven Queen and the stars, when Andake still had stars. They wanted me to have it, to use its magic for good, but it doesn't fit me, it's too small, and it's not really my style. I like to punch things, and this is less about punching and more about magic stuff, so, I think she'd want you to have it. And Rev holds out the robe.
Thanks that Lolly stands up, kind of looks Rev in the eye for the first time, and takes it. Thank you.
You got it, Bud?
Don't call me Bud. There's a direwolf named Bud. It'll make Gentle upset.
What?
There's
Okay,
a direwolf.
that's-
He's missing. It's...
Wow, okay, sorry, you're welcome, Sit Lolly.
That's fine, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna check on my girlfriend now. Why don't you find Mercy Socks, good talk? We on the same page, or?
I'm gonna check on my girlfriend as well,
Okay,
yeah.
yep, alright, okay. I'm just gonna leave, and you can
there's
take a minute.
there's
Are you
only
gonna
one
leave
door.
at the same
There's-
time? We're in
Yeah.
going in the same direction? Okay,
Yeah.
alright.
Okay.
There's that, like, awkward moment where you say goodbye to someone, but you walk in the same direction. So, like, Rev opens up the door, and both of you kind of, like, awkwardly sidle out.
I think V has been right there, almost like with her ear at the door.
V!
Oh, hello. Oh, hi, friends.
Hey.
Sid Lolly. Hi.
Hi.
My good friend, Sid Lolly. And once again, V puts out a hand to shake.
So which one are you? I don't think I've heard anything about you.
Oh, I'm the Paragon girlfriend.
Oh, are you just the girlfriend? Is that all?
Ah, Sid Lolly, Sid Lolly, Sid Lolly. This is gonna be fun. You're going to be so much fun.
Okay, V, you know what? Let's go and see if Gentle needs help with dinner stuff, okay?
V, like, Rev has, like, pushed me away. Like, V's, like, definitely, like, a stink eye over her shoulder as Rev is, like, pushing her down the stairs. And finally, V, like, beelines it towards back to the table stuff.
And Rev sort of mutters under her breath, oh, maybe Silali's gonna hate someone else more than me. She, like, continues to, like, usher you down the stairs. And as we go down the stairs, I think we're gonna pan over to dinner being set up. So to Gentle, and maybe also Dewey, as you're, like, helping Gentle, like, set the place settings and maybe start to bring food out.
Oh gosh. So I think the seating order is V, Dewey, Oka, Dron, myself, and then Sitlali. I think that keeps them on the opposite ends of the table. I had to move Dewey one step closer because of that whole scene. And are there any dietary restrictions or anything? I think I'm asking as I'm, like, setting up plates.
I'm a pescatarian, but you can just leave the meats on one side of the table. It's fine.
Okay, perfect. And how are you? I haven't gotten a chance to talk to you, really.
I'm good. Seems like I've got the least drama of everyone right now.
Squeak, bustling by, says, weren't you poisoned by someone you thought was a friend, and also was the reason why the Paragon Killer got into the palace? Sorry, I'm gonna help Dr. Oluso in the kitchen. She
I'm
like bustles
fine.
past.
A little bit of poisoning here and there.
Are you still sick? I can heal a little bit of that if you need a little help with that.
Sure. I mean, the royal healers did what they could, but it's sort of a non-standard poison. If you want to take a look, I'd be grateful.
Sure. I am gonna try to do some healing, hand of healing stuff.
Dewey puts down this, like a stack of napkins and like sits down.
Okay. So yeah, I'm going to use a couple of key points to do Physician's Touch, and one disease or falling condition. So I don't know if that will narratively do anything, but Gentle's still gonna give it an honest attempt.
Yeah. Gentle, how are you laying your hands on Dewey?
Is there anywhere in particular that it happens to hurt, or like anywhere you prefer?
No, I mean, like, I drank the poison for a couple of weeks, so it's everywhere.
Okay, let's just go like center of mass then.
Okay.
And then like that familiar like warm glow of the hand of healing, and Gentle very like gently does it. I don't know if this will help, but hopefully it does. And then if it doesn't, I'll still make a cup of tea.
Dewey, you feel a warm glow spread through your chest as Gentle puts their lit up hands upon you. And Gentle, I don't think your hand of healing can remove the poison completely, but make a medicine check for me, and I'll tell you a little bit about how the poison works, depending on your roll.
Okay, so that is a 25.
Whoa, okay. Yes. There is poison sort of spread throughout every part of Dewey's bloodstream. It's sort of like embedded itself into Dewey as a person. The royal physicians of the palace seem to have done a good job. They've pulled out a lot of it, but a little bit of it still remains, and it's sort of like clung onto Dewey's cells a little bit. And you get the sense that the way to really flush this poison out is gonna have to come from like an inner strength of will from Dewey. There's just a little bit of it left, and if Dewey just powers through and really just like, for lack of a better term, like believes in himself a little bit more, then the last of the poison might flush itself out. But it seems like a lot of this blockage is psychological, right? There's something psychological stopping Dewey from letting go of the poison fully, and it's not like an outside-in healing. It has to be inside out.
So, what, I do like a cleanse of some sort, Doc?
I mean, yes, but more of a mental, emotional cleanse. It seems like it's mostly a mental block sort of stopping the healing process from fully going into effect, if that makes sense.
I have no idea what could be causing that.
Well, you're a paragon, so I mean, there's a couple of things maybe.
Yeah, there's that. So work on myself, deal with my issues.
I mean, yes. And it seems like you have to really believe in yourself. So, I don't know if anyone's told you this, but I believe in you. Now, do you want tea?
I think that sort of takes Dewey back for a moment. He's like, yeah, what kind of tea? Yes, sure. Thanks.
All right, what kind of tea? And Gentle reaches towards their bag and pulls out a bunch of natural herbs. So it really depends on the mood you're here for, and I think honestly, considering that this is mostly a psychological thing, maybe some sort of something that'll give you a bit more energy and wherewithal. And they find sort of a nice, similar to a ginger root, and then mix that with some tea that they're already brewing a lot of tea for everybody, but you get a little special made one.
Thanks.
Of course. I mean, a friend of Oka's a friend of mine, so consider us friends.
Yeah, friends. Friends is a little touchy subject right now. But yes. No, sorry. I didn't mean to unload.
No, you're okay. I'll. It's totally fine if you need someone to talk to. That's okay, and if not, I also understand. I won't use the word friends. Coworker. I don't know.
Sure. Thanks, Gentle.
Yeah. I'll go check on the tea, and Gentle just sort of tries to quickly leave because they feel bad now.
Yeah, Gentle, as you get up and sidle into the kitchen, That's when Dr. Oluso steps out of the kitchen, and all of you see like knives and vegetables and meats flying around, like sort of like glowing like blue behind them as they sort of poke their head out. They say, dinner will be ready in just a couple of minutes. Oka, hi.
Hi. And Oka gets this look on their horrible little face that just, the hounds have maybe not seen it. And I think while this was all happening, they were talking with Duran, and they had taken out the chisel that was held by the silver thread that Duran had given them. The golden chisel with their own soul that was wrapped around it, and we're kind of like cupping it like a bird's egg and showing Duran, and they kind of just like immediately like look up, tuck it like kind of like really quickly back underneath their cloak. Hey, Hitsageton. Dr. Oluso, good to see you. Hi.
It's good to see you too, in a non-blood way.
Right, yeah, a non-blood way. It's you have color instead of just blood.
I'm glad you and Duran were able to catch up and see each other again. I know Duran's really been missing you.
Oka blushes, looks kind of between them with an ounce of anxiety. That's your eyes are, and they kind of like take a few steps forward. They're blue again.
Yes, it appears the longer I spend near the Euclid chasm, the more blonde my hair gets and the bluer my eyes become. I don't really know why. Well, perhaps it's some of the ambient magic coming from the depths of the chasm. I've suspected for several years now. But that's beside the point. Welcome back home, I guess, Oka. There's like a pause, and then Dr. Oluso awkwardly steps forward and gives you a hug. And they hadn't hugged anyone else.
Oka awkwardly accepts the hug. It's horrible. It's like watching two clams try to high five. That's what it's like. And they kind of step away. It's promised to come back in 2 pieces. And they kind of pat where their soul is.
Yes, Abiku, Costas, and Voska should be back any minute now. I don't want to set the table without them here. But once they get here, I think Voska will be able to help take a look at your soul, and we'll see what we can do.
I'm sorry, did you say Costas?
Yes. They actually said that you sent them here. Have I not mentioned Costas before?
No, you never. I sent them here, but that was before they were, a fanboy of the Chrysalis. Are they? What do you mean they're here? Where are they? And Oka grabs a fork off the table and starts like wielding it around a little bit.
Whoa. Oka. It's okay. Costas told me all about how the Chrysalis, was a little too suspicious for them. I really shouldn't speak on their behalf. Costas, Abiku, and Voska are Strike Team A. You, Dewey, Manaya, and V are technically Strike Team B, and I guess the Hounds and now are Strike Team C for Equilibrium. But they were the original people here. Remember the other folks that I mentioned way back when you first met me, that I said that I had some other folks working with me, helping me out? I sent them up to Morose almost a year ago at this point, and they've been in Morose since, investigating what we know now, of course, is the god shard of Neatbusa. And they've got it. They've got her. They should be joining us here for dinner tonight. This is actually an open. Have I not mentioned this? Everyone, we will have 3 more guests joining us tonight.
You did not mention that. And what do you mean they have the god? Who's holding the god shard of Neatbusa?
Well, of course that be. But then Squeak interrupts by quickly bustling forward and saying,
"This has nothing to do with any of this. Dewey, real fast, before I forget, this came for you while you were in too long."
And she hands you a letter. There's a seal on it. It's unbroken. And the letter is addressed to Cardew Quirk at Dr. Oluso's address. And you see like the return address just has the name Uolani.
Dewey's heart drops into his stomach. Thanks, Squeak. You didn't read this, right?
Of course not. You see, the seal is not broken.
Okay, thanks. And he's moving like to the corner of the living room furthest away from everyone.
Mm-hmm. Are you gonna open it up and read it?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Oluso goes up. Right. Anyway, it's a long story. I think Voska, Abiku, and Costas should just tell it for themselves.
Oka frowns, but accepts this.
Okay, I was just gonna say, as Oka like steps back like away from Dr. Oluso and the conversation ends, Joran is just going to like elbow Oka and say, "What was that about?"
What about?
Oka,
What?
Oka, come on.
What? Shut up. And they like, grab Duran's collar. If you say anything, I will knife you in the gut.
Is that an order from a prince, or?
Yes, it is.
Well, then I can't follow it.
Duran! And they kind of,
Yeah, I think we pan away from the two little lover boys in the corner to a different lover boy in a different corner as Dewey opens up the seal. I'm sorry, that transition is so ominous. That was so ominous.
Not this!
A different lover boy.
I'm so sorry. I just meant that you're a divorced dad. Anyway, we pan
All
to Dewey.
divorced dads are lover boys.
In what? Yeah.
As a divorced lover boy, apparently, you know.
This
They're
is
not
supposed to be a dramatic
synonyms.
scene. Everyone shut up. This is supposed to be dramatic.
Dilf.
Anyway, we pan to Dewey in a corner of the living room, maybe wedged between a bookcase and like a display case with like a beholder eye suspended in goo, right? And Dewey, you open up the letter and you unfold it and you begin to read. And the letter reads as follows, written in the strict looping cursive that you know so well from Uilani. Cardew, this is the first and last letter you'll ever get from me. The storm is coming. I see it brimming on the southern horizon like a mass of angry darkness. But you don't have to worry. Hana and I are safe. The URL is building a storm shelter. State of the art, says the Queen. They invited us onto Nawa, so that's where Hana and I are. We're safe here, and we're very lucky. Not everyone is allowed in here. I don't know why you left, and so suddenly. For the longest time, I wondered. I tried to find you, to contact you. I even thought about hiring the Andake Postal Service. Not for you, but for her. For Hana. But now I know it doesn't matter. You're gone. You chose something else over being with your family. Even now, after the cataclysm, you didn't send any letters, you didn't send any messages, any couriers. You've drawn your line in the sand, Cardew. I hear you now, loud and clear. You want nothing to do with us. Nothing to do with your family. Do not come here. Do not contact me. We are safe with the URL, and that's all you need to know. Uilani.
Fuck.
And on that, we cut to break.
Oh my fucking god.
I don't
We
have
haven't
any
even gotten
drama.
into the dinner yet.
I
know.
don't have any drama.
It's gonna be a nice
Abiku's
chill
not even
session.
here yet.
Cool
Nice
Friendsgiving.
calm session. It's gonna be fun.
Oh, I can't wait to meet all the friends.
Like walking into that such a chance. Like any moment, things are just gonna snap.
So, Doctor, these are all people that like each other? These are all people I know.
This is what liking people looks like in Andake, Abiku.
Abiku's literally like Donald Glover walking in with the pizza. Everything's on fire.
Hey, I got you guys. Oh my god.
Oh no.
Doctor, everyone's
I love
stabbing
this
each other.
part.
Who's
I
the
don't
enemy?
have any drama.
Lolly hasn't even said hi to Oka yet.
Welcome back from the break, everybody. What a thrilling first half of our Arc 4 Interlude episode. Let's just hop right back into it. Ooh. So, hounds and paragons alike. The evening begins to settle its chilly fingers into the outskirts of the cottage, but the inside of the hearth burns bright and warm, especially as Gentle finishes setting up everyone's plate around the table, and Dr. Oluso and Squeak begin to carry food out. And soon, the wood grain of the table begins to groan with beautifully roasted turnips, pork haunches, beef tenderloin, big bowls of stew, fresh cut vegetables, and berries as well. A little bit of everything for everyone. A little candy scattered about, little jars and bowls of spices and dipping sauces. And I think around now is when we pan over this beautiful landscape of food, and we pan up to see everyone sat around the table. In the correct seating order, I think, that Gentle has designated. So we see Oka and Jiran, we see Dewey and V, and Rev and Dr. Oluso and Squeak and Gentle and Mercy. And I think there's just an empty seat for Sitlali, who hasn't come down yet, but as everyone's settling down, scooching into their seats, maybe Dewey looking a little, like still reeling from the contents of that letter, Dr. Oluso raises their head and just goes, Sitlali, everyone's ready, we're just waiting for you.
So Sitlali takes a second, casts Detect Poison and Disease on themselves.
Okay.
Just in case.
In case, what, Rev poisoned you?
Or V, who knows? It could be anyone of those two people.
V, did you poison Sitlali?
No.
Yeah, you're clear. You cast the magic and it doesn't ping anything.
It's up for 10 minutes, so just, at the table.
Trust me,
And
if you catch anything from V, it's going to be a lot more burning.
we'll see. Sitlali casts that and then just kind of looks in the mirror and just, you got this, you're fine. You're practically a paragon. It's fine. And then just goes down the stairs.
Yeah, as Sitlali comes down the stairs.
Wearing the robe.
Right, with these glittering starlit, beautiful purple robe, flowing past her form. Everyone hears the groaning of the stairs as Sitlali comes down and then rounds the corner to enter the dining room.
I think for a moment Oka's face is in profile, but they snap to look at Sitlali, and their face snaps up as Sitlali comes into the room with this mixture of excitement, but also deep anxiousness, which seems to deepen as they see the scars running up Sitlali's face that have not faded. And I think they snap, and the eye with the red lightning bolt is the one that kind of lands on you as they turn their face all the way. Hey.
I think they do stop and just kind of lock eyes with you and go, hey.
I like your cape.
What the fuck is on your head?
Why does everyone keep asking me that? It's a headband.
Do I need to roll insight, or was that a bad enough lie that I can
It was
tell?
a bad enough lie.
It's
It's
cool.
not a fucking headband. There's no way.
What the fuck is it, Oka? What have you done now?
Oh, congratulations, Oka. You got recoronated as the heir to the throne of Sulong.
Oh, Prince Oka Hien?
Is this really what and Oka looks at Jiran now too. Is this really what we're gonna do? Is that what this is? And they look over at Mercy too. Is this it? Really?
We're gonna have to rib you a little bit for being literal fucking royalty, Oka. Come on.
I mean, you are wearing it around.
I can't take it off.
What do you mean you can't take it off?
Oka takes it off their head, throws it behind them again, and I think it is about to hit Squeak when it just disappears from the air and reappears on their head.
An act of violence.
And Dr. Oluso cuts in and says, "Oh, why don't you just speak its command word?"
What?
And maybe that's when there's a thump, thump, thump at the door. Right? And all of you hear the swirling howl of a winter wind whip against the threshold. Dr. Oluso goes, "Oh, yes, that must be Strike Team A. Just 1 minute." And Dr. Oluso gets up and very excitedly hustles over to the door. They fiddle with the locks and they swing it open to reveal 3 people at the threshold silhouetted against the dying, starless light behind them. The first person, I think, I'm saving our brand new PC for last. The first person is a kind of wiry-looking humanoid with swaddled in furs, with this fur-lined hood sort of pulled over their face, obscuring their features. They've got these like double swords like strapped to their back, and they're wearing this like steel pauldron, I think, on like one arm. And they've also got like a huge pack, right? And like frost is like rhyming the fur on their hood, and they look real battered, like they've just been on the road for months, which they probably have, and like their boots are just caked in like mud and frozen soil and like frost. They just sort of like smell like cunt, and there's a really unpleasant smell, I think, that wafts in from like the sack that they're carrying, and they sort of drop the sack onto the ground at the threshold, and they say, "Dr. O, it's so good to see you." And they like surge forward and hug Dr. Oluso, who goes, oh, kind of awkwardly. The next person places their hand on this person's shoulder, and they step into view, and all of you see a Yuan Ti pureblood. With this, I think, like deep brown skin and these glittering black and gold scales sort of modeling the backs of their arms, their exposed shoulders, their throat, sort of similar to the patterns of a banded crate. And they're wearing just like leather armor, some cloth, almost like these like robes going down with a sash tied around their waist. And not a lot of like winter protective gear, actually, but they don't look cold at all. And they have this like short white hair sort of swept up and back out of their face. And these striking eyes, one of which is brown, the other of which is pure white. And they place a hand on this other person's shoulder and they say, Now, Costas, I know it's been quite a few months since we've seen Dr. Oluso in person, but we still have to keep in mind our manners. Right, Abiku? And this person looks up at the tallest of the trio. And Abiku Ishtar, why don't you introduce yourself to us?
So you see a black woman. She's this white hair up in a bun. Her hair is locked. Both eyes are pure white. And she has on like orange eyeshadow makeup, and she has like these like orange freckling on her shoulders. You don't know if it's makeup or just her skin. As she steps into view, you notice her cheeks look like she's put on like white eyeshadow and mascara, but then you notice that the clouds move on her face. She's not wearing any shoes. She's wearing like light blue cloth clothes, like, is it bandolier style, I think is what it's called, when it's like an X across your chest. And she walks into view and then, yes, it is always best to keep our manners, but Doctor, it has been some time, and she reaches out for a hug.
Oh, Dr. Luso's dropped by the hooded person and allows you to hug her, right? Oh, Abiku, I've almost forgotten how tall you are.
Like pick up hug.
Nope.
It's been so. Did you remember what I told you about the birds?
Yes, their favorite kinds of grain, was it?
Yes, they still come every morning?
Yes, every morning.
Good.
A little less frequently now that it's winter, but I do set out seeds and whatnot for them, just as you asked.
Good. I sent I've son. I sent them around back. I didn't know who was
understood.
Here.
Yes. The barn, their stall should still be okay. I made sure to rope it off so Oka didn't put their elk there.
This is for you. And I reach back like through the threshold and just like drop down a Yeti pelt.
Oh, and just a massive pelt just thunks onto the. Whoa! Oh my! Is that Yeti?
I didn't know. You said it was dinner.
Oh, yes! Thank you so much, Abiku. How thoughtful! And I knew I forgot something. I didn't fix the door frame. I'm sorry. You still have to stoop to get in.
It's okay. I'm used to it. It's good to be home.
Well, yes, come in. And everyone, please welcome, Squeak, please, the pelt.
Yes, Dr. Oluso. Hello, Abiku.
Squeak.
Hi.
It's good to see you.
And Squeak actually reaches up her little stubby arms to be picked up as well. For uppies.
I think at the table, Oka is like looking, and they lean back, and they're thinking about Manaya, who was previously the tallest woman that they've ever met, until they met Kahealani, her mother, who was then the tallest person that they've ever met. And I think Abiku is now the tallest woman that they've ever met.
How tall are you, Abiku, again? Will you remind us?
Believe we settled on 8 even, unless that doesn't make me the tallest woman, because I will be the tallest woman.
No, eight
I wrote down the tallest woman you've ever met.
8 feet even feels par for the course. Yeah. Squeak, after she's set down by you, picks up the Yeti pelt and starts like scrunching it up, right? And like gathering it up into this huge pile that's like much taller and wider than her, right? She's like gathering it. And Dr. Oluso sort of steps up. The Yuan-Ti closes the door, right? And like the howling wind and the chill whipping from outside dies down immediately. And the Yuan-Ti turns and smiles at all of you. And they seem like maybe they're in their mid to late 30s. This Yuan-Ti person, maybe one of the older people here at the, visibly speaking. And Dr. Oluso says, everyone, this is Voska, gestures to the Yuan-Ti, who smiles and inclines her head. This is Costas, the hooded person who clears their throat and draws the hood deeper over their face. And this is Abiku.
Abiku's just staring at the doctor.
Oka, they seem to suddenly remember something as Dr. Oluso says Voska. And I think they stand up so hard that they knock their legs against the bottom of the table. And it kind of shakes. Voska, Atalanta's dead.
Pardon?
She asked me to tell you that she loved you when she died. And they sit back down.
I kind of look at Voska. That is that person you told me about?
Yes, Abiku, that is. Thank you for telling me. You must be Oka.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I've been holding on to that for a while. Hi. Nice to meet you. My name's Oka.
Well, thank you for carrying it for so long for me. You can finally put it down now. Costas, why don't you take that hood off? There's no need to hide yourself. We're among friends now. And Costas, this hooded person, goes, oh, I really don't want to. Voska, I can just eat like this. It's fine. What, and make the whole table stink of elk manure? Please, Costas. There's a pause. And then Costas finally lowers their hood. We all see an elf. Sitlali, you recognize this elf on the eve of the cataclysm. Very handsome, kind of rugged, very athletic features, right? With this like short, kind of like dark hair on top. But something has changed. Half of them looks different. Basically split down the middle of their face. The right side of their face, and presumably it goes all the way down their throat, and presumably the entire right side of their body, is made of ice. And the side of their body that's made of ice doesn't have any hair, right? So it kind of looks like they have like an undercut, or like a shaved side of the head. They like slowly lower it.
I think you look good. It is okay.
Yeah, I know you do, Abiku. Thank you. Food, yes. Let's eat this Yeti pelt, or that stew, rather. And Costas just kind of like shoves forward and like sits down at an empty seat randomly. I think in front of Abiku's like little place setting that Gentle had put down, and goes, oh shit, sorry, and gets up and sits down next to theirs.
I think V is like, Costas, last I'd seen you were with the Chrysalis, weren't you? Helping out?
I was on my way to the Chrysalis. I went to Dabathati, stood in their stupid soup line for like a million years, and then I finally asked to see their priest or whatever, and they said that I had to sign a contract, but I thought that was super sketchy, and then I did a bit of snooping around, and I saw a bunch of dead people in cages, so I decided to fuck out of there. I came here because you, and Costas kind of points at Oka, had left me Dr. Oluso's address, so.
You're welcome for that, by the way.
It's nice to hear someone made good decisions. Someone made good decisions.
Yeah, what do you mean by that? Costas says as like Voska very like elegantly settles down, I think in the middle of her seat, and Gestures for you, Abiku, to also sit.
I was worried about being awkward, but you all seem quite tense.
Well, like I said, some of us are making good decisions, and some of us... V kind of like shoots an eye at Sitlali.
That kind of stuff. That is what I mean. That are we not all allies to Andake here?
Gentle,
You have a
just,
hand
just,
up?
just gentle.
What's with the...
I just wanted to formally greet you to hi, I'm Gentle. And it's nice to get to know you, and I hope you enjoyed eating and dinner with all of us.
Yes, I do enjoy eating.
Yes, actually, speaking of which, everyone please dig in. Please, please, please go ahead. Eat. And like Dr. Oluso gestures toward all the food, and Squeak goes, finally! And like grabs like a huge like pork haunch and starts biting into it.
Do anyone else here have names?
I've got many names, but you can call me V.
Oh, that is good. Do I need the other names or just the one?
If you ever hear me refer to myself by some other name in public, go with that name. That's the best rule of thumb.
Okay, good to know.
Should we actually go around the table and introduce ourselves formally in the order? Thank you, Gentle, that you've set up. I suppose I get started. You all know me. Of course, I'm Dr. Oluso. Oh, yes, Strike Team A. New development. I didn't get to update you during our most recent scry before you traveled back here from Morose. I'm now part of the Alliance of the Eight. It's that cooperative of leaders across the 8 nations I was telling the 3 of you about last we spoke. But I'm officially a voting part of it.
That's fantastic. So this is the celebration.
Oh, not just for me, but for everyone, because we're all here and we're all back, and we're all together, which is good, which is great. I'm so happy we're all here, and I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to pass along introductions to, I suppose, Oka.
Oh, you didn't. And they look at Jiran with a desperate "get me out of this" look.
Don't be
Right.
so humble, Prince. Use your
Shut
full
up.
title.
Shut up, Sitlali.
Right. It's nice to meet you, Abiku. I'm Jiran. I am with the, I guess, Strike Team C now? The Hounds of Mercy.
Hi again. I'm Gentle, resident herbalist of the Hounds of Mercy. So if you need some tea that'll help you feel better, I can help with that. And I just kind of look at Sitlali desperately.
I'm Sitlali, but I also have several names, and similarly to V, if you hear me go by another one in public, go with that. I am the Hound's resident, heal shit, but also kill shit. So.
I thought we were using our full titles, Sitlali. Don't you have something to add?
I'm also second in command.
Yes. Of the Hounds of Mercy, of which I am the first in command. Hello, my name is Mercy. I lead the Hounds of Mercy. We're a monster hunting / mercenary group. Pre-Cataclysm, post-Cataclysm, I guess we're Strike Team C. Because, this Cataclysm shit sucks rocks, and we want it to stop. And Mercy looks at Dewey.
I think Dewey looks up from a piece of food he's been crunching on, and he's like, I'm Cardew. I'm a scientist, I guess. It's nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet everyone. I'm in Abiku. I'm from Strike Team A, I'm told. We were the first one sent out to help the doctor. These are for you. And Abiku has like seeds in her hand and like picks up a seed and Drew casts it into a flower, like a little daisy. And if you could all take one and pass it down.
Oh, yes! How wonderful, Abiku. Thank you. As like the flowers and the seeds start rotating, and Rev just sort of chimes in and says, I'm Rev. Used to be dead, now I'm not. Now I'm back. Paragon of the Raven Queen.
Nice.
V's girlfriend.
Oh,
Yes!
lovely.
That is interesting. The 2 of you should talk. Dr. Oluso gestures to Rev and Abiku and like makes like kind of like finger waving noise, like gesture, and Rev looks puzzled. But maybe after dinner. Yes, maybe after
I
dinner.
don't know why we would talk.
You know what? You're right, Abiku. I'll let that be a you decision. I won't force you to do anything. Yes, seeds and flowers for everyone.
Mercy and I are also dating.
Yes, we are. We have been for a while now. Not that it's a competition.
Is anyone else dating?
Well, I
Jaron just
got-
looks over at Oka.
Oka also looks over at Jaron.
Oka and I are.
Yeah, we are.
Is it official now?
Jaron takes Oka's hand in theirs.
They look
Yes.
startled. Yes, it is. So you can all stop making fun of me now. Okay, thank you.
No, that's still gonna happen.
No, does it?
Is that the royal decree?
Because you're a prince.
Not you. Don't. Yeah, I just met you.
You have the thing on. Is that not right? Is that a joke?
No, it's not a joke. It's
Oh.
not a joke. I'm
But you
sorry.
don't want to be a prince.
And Oka stares into the middle distance, reliving all of Arc 4 and the last 7 years of their exile. And then they come back. Why don't you have a heartbeat?
What do you mean? Are you talking to me or the who?
Your heart hasn't beat once since you came in here.
I assure you it's beating just fine.
I have news. Dr. Oluso cuts in. I have news that I want to share with all of you. Important news, actually. I wanted to share it after dinner and maybe after a few days, but I think it's good to share now. So Strike Team B, Oka Manaya. Well, Manaya's got, but we have another Manaya, but she's with her parents in the shack. It's a long story. Oka, Dewey, V, Rev. During the carnival, I told you all that my machine that sensed the cataclysm was disabled by a wave that shot out from the chasm while you were in the carnival. And I've spent the past couple weeks, months repairing the machine. As the hounds are aware, I've spent basically pretty much every day down in my lab trying to repair it. And I have. I finished repairing it yesterday. And I got it to work again, and I got some readings that are a little concerning. Remember how on the eve of the cataclysm, I told you all, and Abiku, you know this as well, Costas Voska, that another cataclysm was due in about 3.5 years? About a year ago. So now it's been almost a year, so 2.5 years. An even worse cataclysm than the one before, and now I think we can extrapolate that means the stranger is gonna come again. Well, turns out I wasn't wrong, but data has changed. That next spike is due for 8 months.
That is much sooner.
Yes, much sooner.
Hmm.
Basically, after Adolin this year, we'll have until Adolin next year. Before the stranger comes again, presumably.
How are your calculations so far off?
They weren't. Things have changed.
Is this because of the paragons?
I don't know. That's the only difference, right? The only variable?
The god shards being united with their paragons, maybe it's accelerating the timeline.
Yes, that has to be it. But I don't know why or how or what the relationship is or if the stranger's monitoring our progress from the nothing plane. I don't know.
Is the stranger a god, perhaps? Maybe it's looking for its paragon.
The stranger's paragon? That's... And Dr. Oluso gets kind of a faraway look and shakes their head. I don't think that wouldn't make sense.
Well, what about the work of, like, the chrysalis? When I was there, they've been doing experiments. We also know the URL, but I saw the chrysalis firsthand, the things that they were doing. Could that be any part of the equation, speeding this up, or?
It's extremely possible that what the chrysalis is up to in Dabathati, that you did witness firsthand, V, is maybe helping to accelerate this process. There's just too many unknown variables. I don't know why. I can definitely try to find out why, but I don't think my calculations will be wrong again. Now that my monitoring machine is up and ready, I'll be able to track any changes in real time and get to know if that deadline is pushed up even more.
V, you mentioned that you saw the chrysalis firsthand?
Oh yeah, I used to be one of their prophets.
You were
spread
working
the good
for...
word.
You were
Yeah.
working for the stranger.
Well, I didn't know it was a stranger at the time. Seemed like just a really good idea to try to make friends with what seemed to be some people who were helping, doing good things in Dabathati. You know, feeding the poor, providing places for people to live, creating monsters in their basement.
They were doing what?
Wait, you saw that too? Says Costas.
Yes,
And you didn't.
So-
You. And Costas actually bangs their hand down, like on the table, rattling some of the knives, and like half gets up. And you went and what? You allied with them?
Look, I found myself in the basement. I found Adam, who seems to be at least somewhat in charge, although upon further discussion with many other people seeming to work with the stranger, Adam seems to be kind of small potatoes in the grand scheme of things. But we needed someone. We needed a little bit of help in Dabathati, and I made a quick alliance. We got.
You
Shakur,
made an alliance with the Chrysalis?
Look, at the time, we didn't know much about what was going on.
You motherfucker! And Costas raises their right hand, and like an ice spike like punches out of their glove, like, and they like start to leap across the table at you.
Duran
has one of those
get in
too.
the way.
Duran
is getting in the way. Whoa.
He's gonna dimension door like much like to the opposite side of the room.
Abiku's gonna like hold Costas. Costas, we talked about your anger.
I know, but isn't this a proper time to get angry? This person that we're supposed to work for worked with the fucking Chrysalis who's in cahoots with the stranger.
We helped the doctor, and we are at their home for dinner. This is not right.
Look, Costas. If it's any consolation, the cleric they gave us is a puddle of goo on the floor somewhere in the mines, and I fireballed Adam in his office.
Did you kill him?
Wait.
No, didn't even come close. He's a bit stronger than I gave him credit for. Let's say that. Probably not a good idea to take him head on by yourself. Just putting that out there. Sit lolly.
Costas like sits back down, talked down by Abiku and Duran, and there's like a shing noise as like the ice knife goes back into their hand. Presumably like their entire right side is made of ice.
Lolly just kind of leans into Mercy and whispers, "So I'm not the worst one here, right?"
I wouldn't try to make this into a competition, darling.
That's not a yes.
You're not the worst one here.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, V's over by Rev, like, I'm not the worst person here, am I?
No, of course not. Of course. I mean, Sitlali and I made up, but she did try to kill me, and I think she still does, but she can try. She won't. I mean, come on.
At least I haven't tried to kill a paragon. Yay, me!
Speaking of paragons, and it's actually Voska who chimes in, and this entire time has just been eating, has just been chopping food up and eating very careful, like, not bothered at all. Dr. Oluso, you mentioned that Strike Team B was comprised completely of paragons to us during one of our scrying sessions. Is this true? And their mismatched eyes flick up and settle onto each of you. Oka, Dewey, V, and Rev. Dr. Oluso says, yes. And Voska gives just a very small smile at that. I see. Well, Abiku Costas and I bring news from Morose as well. The god shard of Neatbuza has been settled.
It's an interesting choice of word.
Want to elaborate on that?
Perhaps it's better if I just show you. And Voska raises a hand, and all of you feel the weave just kind of like tighten and vibrate, and sort of shimmering into existence in their hand is a rope dart. They're holding on to like the handle of what appears to be like a dagger or a knife, but the end of the dagger has like a thread coming out of it, like a thick rope, right? And the rope ends up lashing around their wrist, right? And the actual dart part of the rope dart is made of like what appears to be clarified ice. It's just this pure translucent, like glass-like material, and it's sort of like shimmering and like vibrating with magic. The Paragon's in here, so Oka, Dewey, V, and Rev. As soon as Voska sort of summoned this rope dart, you all felt the weave sort of like a few of its threads just sort of pluck. I think vibrate and resonate within you. And I think you understand intuitively what's happening here, right? You understand now who Voska is and what she houses within her soul. This is Parable. She is my Paragon weapon.
It's so lovely to meet another Paragon. That's a very lovely weapon you have there.
Thank you. Judging by the colors of your eyes, I want to say Scott and Nectus?
And with that, there's like a little flick of the wrist and Gamble shows up in her hand. Yep, this is Gamble. And she's like just flickering through all these tarot cards. My new best friend, Gamble. Always a pleasure to pull a card from this deck. Then Fushikun goes away in a flourish again.
Yes, Nipuz has told me many stories about each of the Paragons. Not who you are currently, but who all of us used to be. And you had introduced yourself as the Paragon of the Raven Queen. Yeah, I don't want to summon Grim, though, because it'll probably knock Dewey out. It's a big scythe. Sorry. Don't worry about it. As for the two of you... And Voska's mismatched gaze falls upon Oka and Dewey.
I think this whole time, like since Dr. Oluso's 8 months, Oka has just kind of been catatonically staring at the kebabs that they were eating. Even when like Costas tried to jump across the table, they only like sort of looked up and then looked back down. And they like finally just kind of come up, and these like they regard Voska carefully and they go 7 out of 8. And these little tiny red lightning bolts kind of like flick up their wrists and like just kind of like crawl up their arms until they just kind of like discharge off their shoulders for half a moment. I'm mismatched.
Is that Vinash? But you're not. Who do you belong to?
Sen. And it's only Vinash. The rest of Utabathi is somewhere else.
A fragment of a fragment. And what about you? And Voska's gaze falls upon Dewey.
Dewey has similarly been sort of just staring down at his plate this whole time. And when Voska says his name, he sort of looks up and looks around and sort of looks at himself. I'm supposed to be the Paragon of Kaltanger, I guess.
You're certainly different from Karvash, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Why do you say you guess?
Taktoa Kagan also claims that title.
I see. Well, in all of the stories of the Paragons, none of them have ever spoken about Paragonhood being transferred. Or altered. If fate has chosen you, then fate has chosen you, and we must walk toward that destiny unafraid.
Unafraid. Right. So you know, then?
Of course. I have, ever since Nitbuza and I met each other. Rather, I think perhaps a part of me suspected ever since I started having those dreams.
And Oka looks at Dr. Oluso and fixes them, I think, with the most like intensity that they have before. Did you know?
Know what, Oka?
That were sacrifices. That the Paragons are supposed to die. Have you just been going around looking for us to put us on the altar?
Oka,
And they... Oh, Oka's gonna ruin dinner. I knew it. They stand up, shove their plate away, and walk out.
Oh, Oka, wait! Please, keep eating. And Dr. Luso gets up and runs after Oka.
I look at Gentle. Are things always like this with all these people?
More often than yeah. It's a lot. Welcome.
I guess I've been away. I didn't have a chance to meet everyone. I thought they would be nice.
It's not that they're not nice. It's that it's hard for them to let themselves be nice. There's a lot of layers here. Would you like some tea?
Yes.
Let's maybe go make some. And I just sort of like, if Abiku wants to follow me to the kitchen, we'll make tea and let everyone else have bad vibes.
Yeah, I think we follow Oka and Dr. Oluso out. Oka, are you storming out of the cottage?
I think so, because the second that they get out, there is a lightning bolt, I think, that just kind of like goes poof, 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 right up. And I think they were holding onto it. They didn't want to do that in front of Sitlolly, but I think they can't hold it in once they're outside, and it just like cracks off into the atmosphere, and they just kind of like stand there heaving, and they turn as soon as Dr. Oluso comes outside.
Yeah, as you burst out of the cottage, like, darkness has settled almost completely over the homestead and over the chasm, right? The only light coming from torches that are mounted throughout the homestead. And as this huge gust of just wintry, chilly air hits you as soon as you walk outside, like a punch to your solar plexus, like all the warmth drains away, and your heaving breath comes out in these thick, opaque clouds that just sort of like balloon out of your mouth. And as that bolt of lightning crimson strikes onto the ground, scorching the earth, like the chickens in the pen nearby cluck in fear, and they all like start like fluttering their feathers, right? You hear like a flutter of wings as like more birds take off from like a nearby like group of trees, and then you hear Dr. Luso's voice go, "Oka, wait, please."
Where am I going? Where would I even go? Where would I go? There's nowhere else to go, right? Only one way out of this.
Oka, please, you have to understand. And Dr. Oluso's voice becomes louder as they draw up, like, pretty much right behind you. I was doing what I thought I was right. I was going to tell you. I didn't find the right time, and then you found out, and, I mean, Rev knew from the beginning, and a part of me thought that maybe you would intuitively know, and we didn't have to have this conversation, but obviously I was wrong.
I am a very bad dream prophet. Dream blessed is not a title that I carry, Doc. It's not. And it never will be. I'm sorry, 8 months is no time. There's no time. I just found the hounds again. I just met these people, and I just got it back. I just got my family back, my home, everything that I've wanted. I just got it. I just met you. I want. It doesn't matter what I want. And they trail off.
Oka, you're right to be mad at me, and I'm so sorry I didn't tell you and the rest of your friends earlier. I wanted to. Please, you have to believe me. I wouldn't have let you sign on to this without knowing the full context. I was just waiting for the right time. Oka, none of this is fair. None of it. You didn't ask for this. None of you did. None of us on Andake asked for the cataclysm. But this is the way things are. And maybe they look really hesitant to share this next part. Like they really don't want to say it. Maybe there may be alternatives. Okay? We shouldn't keep that door closed. But I don't want to give you false hope, okay? I don't want to promise something that I can't do.
I can't have hope. I need to bury it. I hope you understand.
I do. Oka, it's very cold. Do you need a minute, or, do you want to go back inside?
I fucking hate the cold. I shouldn't have come out here. I'm sorry. It's easier, but harder to tell where I begin and where Vanash ends. Sometimes the rage just gets so loud, I can't think of anything else. Did I ruin dinner?
No, you didn't. I think dinner was ruining itself. But that's okay. We'll have a couple of days before we have to go off and do our own things. And Oka, if the rage gets too loud, I know I won't always be there in person, but... And Dr. Oluso reaches out a hand and folds your hand in theirs. And it's like the one, like, point of warmth in this swirling chill all around you and the darkness. Maybe you can hold on to me?
Yeah. Sure. What did I say? Our guiding star, right?
I wouldn't call myself that. Big shoes to fill.
And yet here you are. We can go back inside.
Yes, let's. It's awfully cold out here. Come on. They thread their fingers through yours, and they, like, pull you back toward the front porch. And back inside the cottage, while Dr. Oluso and Oka were out and talking, Abiku, as you're munching away, I'm gonna need you to make a performance check for me. Actually,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can super do that. I have a +2 to performance.
Anyone who wants to can roll insight.
V rolls
Okay.
a 13.
Okay.
22 for Jerron.
Not one.
That makes sense though. That makes sense.
So that's good. That sounds on brand. I got a 16.
23.
Dewey, what'd you get?
19.
So everyone except Gentle thinks something real. So Abiku, why don't you tell us what's kind of suspicious about the way you're eating?
I have been cutting the same piece of food and pantomime eating it. So you like cut a piece of food and you put it on your fork, and I like it seems like I'm like really keyed in, like talking to Gentle, like someone's fucking normal here, Jesus. It's like the doctor left, so I guess I'll talk to you, and just like talking and like having a good time. So I just like keep like cutting and like picking up like I'm gonna eat it, and then I go back to cutting.
Sitlali leans into Mercy and just goes like to her ear quietly. I just need to check something really fast. Cover me. And behind like her draws sort of like a divine sigil in the air, the multicolor flavor that their magic kind of has, and uses Eyes of the Grave, which allows me to magically detect undead within 60 feet of me that aren't behind cover.
Okay. Mercy just suddenly starts going,
Sports.
To sports, to
I
how
wanted, babe. Settle.
desert
settle.
ball. Desert ball is a sport I made up in
You're
my
not
wanton
helping.
youth. Where
You're not
you
helping me.
you
Why
kill-
are you doing this to me?
you kill a bulette and you take its
I-
liver and you blow it up.
Jesus
And you
Christ.
punt it around. And I think at this point, the sigil has been drawn. And bing! It's sort of like a water droplet going on to like the calm surface of a pond. And as it ripples out, two things light up. What's the range on Eyes of the Grave?
60 feet.
Okay, then only two things light up. The first is Rev. Which makes sense. She's a revenant. Yeah. Rev is cutting things up and eating, though. She's like actually eating and like talking with me. The other thing that lights up is Abiku.
Okay. Sitlali looks at to see if Rev has noticed anything.
Yeah, Rev is eating, like some sort of like pig haunch or whatever. Like whispers something in V's ear and then looks up and seems to be like staring at Abiku between whispering to V. And I think we swing over to V and Rev's going, yeah, she's definitely undead.
Don't worry. I'm not going to try to date her. Don't worry.
That's not what I'm... Should we bring it up or...
It feels like something that will come up. Like, let's not talk about things. That seems to be getting us ahead real well right now. Not actually talking about what's going on.
Okay, yes. Let's just, keep an eye on her. She seems harmless, though. But most of the other undead I've met are not.
Well, give people a chance to show you who they really are.
Well, it depends on the kind of undead she is. If she's a revenant, like me, then that's dangerous. I don't like the other revenants I've met.
Interesting. Well,
If she's a vampire, that could also be a problem. If she's a white, I don't think she's a lich. I mean, liches are rare.
So, Abiku, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself? Where do you come from?
Oh, I was here before I went up to Moraz, and before that I did some traveling.
Where did you come from when you began your traveling?
The court.
Really?
Yes.
What part of the court?
Spring.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Rev and I are from the court.
We
Oh,
are.
that's fascinating. We must have missed each other. We've all been on the road so long.
When you said you're from the Court of Spring, that's not actually a location in the court. Did you mean that you left the court when you were young?
Yes. Sorry, you carried a Yeti, a few thousand meters.
It's very exhausting carrying Yeti. I assume I'd never done it,
Yes.
but
I've done
Tiring
it,
work.
says Mercy. 2 Yetis at once, actually, I've carried.
Please,
Wrestled
tell
myself.
the story.
Yes, actually, why don't I? And, Mercy launches into a story about, wrestling 2 Yetis on her own when she was dating G-Cast.
This is when Abiku gets up with gentle committee.
And this is also when Oka and Dr. Oluso come back in.
I think also it seems like the meal portion is done, so V is going to grab the boxes which are full of desserts and starting to set those out. There's a mango pudding with coconut milk, and so it's dairy free. There's some almost like banana. There's like Chulong and desserts that she purchased. They're in these very elaborate serving platters and bowls, and there's also some like sponge cake type stuff, and she just sets them across the table for people to take as they want.
Yeah, V, as you sort of set the desserts out, Dr. Luso comes in, there's a gust of wintry air, then as the door closes behind them, and they sort of kind of surreptitiously unthread their fingers from where they're holding Oka's, I think. Not on purpose, but I think just because they gesture. They say, hello everyone, we're back. Not to panic, everything's good. Where's Gentle and Abiku?
Making tea, one could only assume.
Yes. Okay, great. Oh, looks like desserts are out. Are these from you, V? Thank you so much. How thoughtful.
Yes, enjoy. These are some of the best that in Ducal. All of they're top of the. I spent many gold on them.
She stole them from the dining hall in the palace.
I don't steal everything.
Yeah, but you stole those.
Yeah, she stole those. Sorry, V. Hate to blow up your spot.
That's okay. I liked keeping the gold anyway.
Well, stolen or not, I'm sure the royal palace of Toulon can suffer a few missing hawthorn candies. Thank you.
Tell that to the 7th spouse.
Sitlali and Voska and Oka. Can the 3 of us parley after dessert?
By parley, do you mean are you going to shove the chisel back in my chest and hope it goes?
Yes. Voska, I was telling Voska about you, Oka, actually. So the soul thing, I was wondering if you could diagnose, because you know a lot more about tea and soul than I do. Yes, of course, Doctor. I'll be more than happy after dessert. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. All right, then. Hawthorn candy for me. And Dr. Luso strides forward and starts unwrapping some of the candies and pastries. We pan up toward the kitchen door and we push through it, where we see a kettle of tea, boiling water, being put on the stove, and we see Gentle, as well as striding in through the door, Abiku.
You want
Hi.
to with the tea?
Yeah. I wanted to get some for everybody, but I also wanted to ask you what kind of tea you prefer. I've managed to get, I know what the hound's like, and I managed to get a decent read on everyone else, but I didn't know what kind of tea you liked.
Really, any will do fine as long as I can think it first.
Do you like mint?
Sure.
All right. Gentle starts preparing a bunch of things of tea for everybody. How are you, by the way? I've met a lot of new people, and I'm honestly a little overwhelmed. But you seem nice and not angry or sad.
You get by. We one day at a time. My mother always said.
Was there a part 2 to that?
No, is that the mint you are going to use?
Yeah.
Can I see it?
Yeah, of course. And I hand her the mint.
And she cups it in her hand, and she whispers, and I don't think in anything gentle will understand, but she says, cast speak with plants and says, "Thank you for your gift," and then hands it back.
So, Gentle, you speak every language, right?
I understand every spoken language, yes.
The tongue that Abiku speaks is not a language you recognize. The language Abiku uses sounds... I'll let you make an intelligence history check.
Nope, that's an 8.
An 8?
I rolled twice. It's been a 1
Hot.
and a 2.
It sounds really old. It sounds like an archaic form of some Andakan languages matched together.
It's really cool you can talk to plants.
I think so too. Not a lot of people have been into it.
I have a lot of care and love for nature. Being an herbalist, I like to respect the world around me as much as I can. And it just reminded me of a friend of mine who also could breathe life into stuff and talk to things. It was really cool.
They
Yeah.
sound lovely. But no, I do not have a part 2. That's the thing, right? The 1 day at a time.
Fair, yes, yeah, I have heard that.
But how are you? You don't seem, you are with all those people, and you don't seem sad or angry. And everyone out there seems kind of sad or angry, except Vasca, who just seems scary.
If I had to say on Team Angry or Team Sad, I guess I am a little bit of both today. My dire wolf Bud got taken a while ago, and I haven't had a chance to go get him back, and he's kind of like a son to me. But we plan on getting him back, and I will.
And Biku goes to grab you by the face.
Mm-hmm.
If you need any help recovering your companion, I will suffer any hardship you need. I will raise this earth until he is found.
Gentle looks like they're about to cry. Thank you. I mean, I'd rather today, just because I think everyone else is already stressed, focus on the cool things about Bud. Because he can also talk, like how we can talk, which is really cool.
That is useful. I have a friend, but they seem they can only talk to me. No one else understands them. But they do talk.
I mean, he knows a little Morosi, and then he can also speak just kind of with everybody.
Oh, the language, though, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I should ask the doctor for some books.
I mean, I need to make sure you get to meet Bud eventually.
I'm
First
sure.
trip back.
Well, when dinner is over, I think my friend would like to meet you too.
Okay.
Everyone else seems a little like that, but you seem okay.
You too.
Thank you.
I've been trying to introduce myself as friends to people, and do you want to be my friend?
Sure. I have 4 friends.
I'm glad I can be the 4th, maybe? I think 4th.
Yes, that would be weird if you were 3rd, because then I would see the future. And I have a hard enough time with the not future.
Yeah, I get that.
I can also talk to birds. I can ask if they've seen your wolf, and if they have, I can make sure they let you know.
Oh, thank you. I wish I could talk to animals more. It'd be really cool.
I don't know how to teach people. I just do it.
No, I
don't
get
know
it.
how it works. I assumed everyone could do it until the doctor said that was not true.
We'll have to talk to Dr. O and see if we can figure out how to make everyone understand birds.
It seems useful. I think your kettle is ready. It's boiling over.
And then I get all the teas set up. I assume does Dr. O have specialty mugs for people?
Yes. Yes, they do.
Thank you. So then I get everyone tea in their specialty mug.
Cute. Do you take the tea out maybe on a tray or something and exit out into the dining room?
Yeah, I think like Gentle's one-handing it. I think if the dice help me, I'm dexterous enough to do that on any normal day.
Okay, why don't you make an acrobatics check to hold everyone's tea?
This is a real life trait I know, so Gentle better be able to. That's a 25. Thank you.
Yes, effortlessly, flawlessly, you bust the teas out into the dining area where Dr. Oluso and Oka have just come in, and Dr. Oluso sat down back at their seat and is like eating dessert that V has brought out. Oh, Gentle, there you are, and Abiku, hi. Have the two of you been getting to know each other?
Yes. They seem nicer than everyone else that is here.
Do you whisper it like
Yeah.
you're trying to disguise it, but everyone hears you?
Yeah, I try and whisper it, but I'm 8 feet tall and have zero social cue.
Yes, your voice carries. I think you learned how to whisper from Voska. Like Voska taught you that sometimes you can't say things out loud to people. But you're not very good at it. Oh, yes, Gentle is very, gentle. Everyone can attest to that, yes?
Oh, is that how names work?
Not always, but sometimes.
Oh, yes. Definitely has a face of like, I get it.
Voska pipes up actually and says, Abiku, I'm glad you've made a new friend.
Yes, I have 4 now.
Oh, I feel very privileged to count myself amongst those 4.
Yeah, you were 2?
Oh.
Well, 3. And she kind of looks at her hand. Bye, friends.
Costas goes, did you forget about me?
No! What's that, Doctor?
Uh-oh. I love how you were like, no, Abiku doesn't have any problems. And
I was just saying, and Dr. Oluso jumps to your rescue. The first person who's more socially awkward than Dr. Oluso. Gentle, thank you so much for the tea for everyone. I really appreciate it. Oh, and he brought out the mugs that I made for everyone, too.
Yeah, these are really nice mugs, by the way. Can you show me how to make those?
Yes, we just need a kiln and some glaze and some mud.
Everyone, hi. Once again, I'm Gentle. I kind of wanted to do a little toast, if that's okay.
Please.
go for it, Gentle.
Okay. I just wanted to say that despite all of our differences, I'm really glad to be here and to help save all of Andake. And I know today things might be tense and tough, and we might have a lot of things to work through and deal with. But I feel confident that by the time we save the world, we will have saved the Paragons and ourselves. And I can't wait to share this adventure with everyone here. And then I sit down.
Does Abiku just straight up start clapping? Mercy looks really amused, and she also starts clapping. She like bangs like a stein of like mug like on the table. Yeah, go Gentle.
Nico
And,
starts banging a stein on the table.
Yeah, fine. Oka will do it too. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, Mercy's the person you want to learn social cues from. That's the correct person.
Yeah, everyone starts banging steins of mug and non-alcoholic beer as well, like on the table as Gentle finishes out their speech. Oh, what a lovely toast. Thank you so much, Gentle.
Don't mention it.
Yes, to the Paragons, and to all of us as well. And to Andake. And to our loved ones. And to, you know what, I'm not going to try to one-up Gentles. That was perfect. To Gentle.
To Gentle.
Gentle.
You gentle.
Gentle.
Did Dewey and Jerron not say it?
I did not know if we wanted to go there. Okay, yeah, obviously it does.
Tyrion lifts his mug up in solidarity.
Yeah,
To
we
Gentle.
all drink. We all drink to Gentle. Cute! I think on everyone sipping their mugs of tea out of their specialty mugs, which maybe if we hit 1,000, I will release our specialty mugs on our Etsy store. $1,000 tonight. I promise I will.
Do you know how to do pottery?
No. No, I don't.
My partner knows how to do pottery.
Listen, we've got an inn. $1,000 tonight, and we'll release limited edition specialty mugs on our Etsy. On everyone drinking, right? Drinking's a gentle. We are going to cut now to maybe like an hour later, 90 minutes later. Like a little bit of time has passed. People have settled in. The ice has been broken. People continue to pick away at dinner. Some people evacuate the dining table to like go hang out in like Dr. Oluso's office, or like to check out books and scrolls or whatnot, or to just warm up by the fire. But we're gonna push past the fire, past the hearth, past the owlbear rug on the floor and the desks and the tables to a little door in the corner of the living room. And we open up the door and we see like a flight of stone stairs leading into a basement area. We push down these stairs into Dr. Oluso's private laboratory, where we see like a large space filled with all sorts of gadgets and machines, bubbling vials of mysterious liquids, cases and cases full of books and ingredients, right? Big armoires just full of drawers of stuff, material components, spell work, books about theory and thaumaturgy and whatnot. And we see that a space has been cleared in the middle with a healing sigil drawn onto the ground, and a little, I think like an operating table, let's say, has been rolled out and placed in the middle, and the wheels locked in. And lying upon this operating table is Oka, with like various little like machines that look very intimidating next to you, beeping, a tray of just like arcane ingredients, sort of like the experiments room in The Witcher, where they just have like a bunch of like monster parts and weird crystals and ground up herbs and whatnot. It's sort of like that. And standing sort of around you are Dr. Oluso, Voska, and Sitlali.
Oka has their shirts gone. They're kind of like laying there really awkwardly, and the only thing that they're still wearing is this like one of Juron's silver threads, which is holding a chisel. The chisel from the Paragon Killer, which is gold, and it is also wrapped with this like really bright, almost like gold foil, but more transparent, and it's also kind of liquidous or airy, and it's like wrapped around the chisel, kind of like swirling up and down, piece of their soul. And they're just kind of like fiddling absently with it on top of like this total mess of scar tissue. Like, I think Mercy would take the hounds to like bathhouses and stuff, right? So it's not the first time that Oka's scars have been on display, but the knotwork seems deeper. It seems like more intense, and there's more of it. Like somehow there's actually more of it. Like they got punched through the chest like several more times since Sitlali has been gone, which they have, or since Oka's been gone, which they have. And they're just kind of awkwardly like fiddling with it and bouncing their eyes between the three people kind of hovering around them.
Voska steps forward, glances at Dr. Oluso, and says, "So you said that their tea was blocked?" Yes, I'm no tea or soul expert, but that was my preliminary assessment when Oka came to me so many months ago at this point. Understood. Let's take a look, shall we? And Voska sort of like twists their wrists, and Parable, their rope dart, shimmers into existence again. And they sort of like drop the dart, I think, above your chest, but it sort of floats, suspended by magic, and it begins to glow, kind of like an iridescent shimmer, like the point sort of just bouncing above like your sternum. And as it glows, Oka, you feel almost like it's a magnet pulling something up to the surface of your skin, right? And Voska just goes, "Don't struggle. It'll make it hurt more."
Oka looks like they want to start struggling, but they try really hard not to.
The feeling is very uncomfortable. Not quite painful, but definitely verging on painful. It's like your soul is being drawn up and out of your pores so it can be looked at, right? Voska like sort of like orchestrates like with almost like moving their hands in a very fluid, very graceful and elegant way as the tip of the dart continues to bob above your chest, and we see seeping out of your pores on your exposed torso light, iridescent and shimmering, like threads of like aurora borealis just coming out of your body and just sort of ambiently glowing like above the hollow of your chest. And we see several different colors. A lot of it is blue, there's kind of like a blue light like above your chest and threaded through with lots of gold as well as like cracks and lightning streaks of red. And Sitlali, when you see the streaks of red, maybe I think like a part of you sort of knows that that's Vinash, right? Maybe shudders in response to that as well.
Sitlali is leaning on a cane that they did not previously have, and it looks like going down the stairs may have taken like a lot out of them, but they are so like paying so much attention, and they're kind of like, am I here to study or am I supposed to be emotionally supporting Oka? So they like take a step forward kind of hesitantly on the other side of the table from Voska, I think.
I think as their soul gets dragged up, Oka is kind of like, their eyes are bouncing around and they look at Sitlali with this memory of the same kind of panic they looked at them with when they had their soul ripped out the first time and they found them. But there's also the separate panic of last time that happened, I almost killed you. Half of them seems to be asking for you to come closer, and the other half is like telling you to like get back.
Sitlali takes another step forward and says, hey, Prince Asshole, it's gonna be okay.
Okay. Why are there so many colors in there?
You got a lot going on.
That is something of an understatement, says Voska, the resident soul expert, as they continue to sort of play your soul like a theremin. Yeah. Like the red light gets, louder and then it gets quieter, and then like the golden light gets brighter and then quieter. Like seem to be pulling on different parts of your soul, which feels very weird, Oka. Your soul, Oka, isn't blocked. Your T, rather, it's not blocked. It's shattered. You said you were gored by a Telian?
Yeah, and then stabbed with a paragon-killing soul weapon.
And the Telian goring took, what, let me guess, place 8 years ago?
Yeah.
Alright, so here's what's going on with your soul. When you were gored by the Telian about 7 or 8 years ago, it shattered your soul into several different pieces. This is your soul. And they sort of pull almost like lackadaisically on, and I think you jerk a bit, and you see like the blue part glow brighter. This is you, okay? But it was shattered 7 years ago. And you see hairline fractures or cracks running through the light. I suspect that many of those pieces actually went to the after. That is, you died. But something or someone was able to pull most of them back and suture them back together, which is truly an insane endeavor, and would have probably taken a prodigious amount of effort and talent.
It was my 12-year-old sister.
Okay. So, your 12-year-old sister pulled most of your shattered soul back from the after.
Why do you keep saying most of my shattered soul? What's that then?
Oh, this? And Voska pulls the gold part up, and that one glows as well. Yeah, that's the wrong piece. When the Telian gored you and killed you, you killed it too, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's the Telian soul. So what your 12-year-old sister did was, as both of you were dying, she pulled part of its soul into you and tried to sort of like stitch you back together, is my guess. Which means a part of your soul has been in the after for about 7 or 8 years, but you're sort of, there's a partial soul transplant here, right? You're part Telian.
Fuck.
Yeah, that's not, that doesn't really happen. Outside of dark magic.
So, I'm the phylactery of a dead lich Telian.
It's complicated. I don't think labels help here. I wouldn't call you you're kind of half a phylactery, half a lich, half the thing that was killed to make the lich happen, and also none of those things. Yeah, so ever since you became part Telian, you've basically been walking around with shattered T from a shattered soul, partially sutured together with a fragment of a Telian's T. which is probably why your temperament is the way it is, because your sister, though she did save your life, she was still 12. She wasn't able to suture the fragmented pieces together completely. I can do that. I can make these disparate parts, these shattered fractures whole. I can basically seal up the cracks, but she trails off. And Dr. Oluso says, but what? Will that fix Oka? I mean, will that unblock the tea?
The after
Yes.
is gone.
Sitlali's right, the after's gone. We don't know what's going on with that part of Oka's soul, and we don't know what will happen if and when the after comes back after we defeat the stranger. Also, it won't matter because we'll die. What I can do is I can make your shattered parts whole, I can remove the cracks, but I honestly have no idea what will happen if I do that. Your tea will become unblocked, yes, and theoretically it will be a better outcome than how you're walking around right now. There's also the matter of Vinash. Vinash is also in there, and Voska sort of pulls up the red lightning and it kind of sparks.
Yeah, be careful with that one.
Yeah, I'll do 90% sure I'll be able to make everything whole without including Vinash. I'll also need that. And they point at the chisel with, the gold thread. The part of your soul that was knocked out actually belongs to the Telian, but I need it to finish patching up the holes.
So the other 10%, what does that look like? You said you were 90% sure you could do it without securing Vinash. What does the other 10% look like?
5% of that is I would bind Vinash into Oka irreparably, which means that Oka would basically become the shard of Vinash. The other 5% chance is I kill Vinash. Like I said, it's a 5% chance of that happening, and I'm pretty good at what I do.
I've heard that before, and then seen some terrible shit go down. So, forgive my skepticism.
Oka. Voska looks down at you, and she's been kind of treating you with kind of a brusque manner that doesn't really reflect the kind of elegant way that she was talking earlier. She looks out at you, and maybe you get a feeling that it's because you're the one who spilled the beans about Atalanta in such a callous way. It's your decision. I mean, think about it this way. All of us, really, but you especially, are basically like a racehorse. Yes? And you have a broken leg. Usually, my recommendation is to just put the racehorse down. But the finish line is so close. We need you to run this final race, so let's just pump you full of drugs until we have to cart you off to the glue factory.
I think that is weirdly a language that Oka speaks. And they nod.
Would having some extra bits that aren't Vinash reduce that 5%?
Absolutely not. I had part of my soul punched out of me, and I would rather.
I'm pretty sure mine is already full of holes from what I did to myself, Oka, so I don't mind another. I'm offering up some of mine to help with the transplant, to reduce the risk.
Sitlali, it will help, but you have to understand the full risks of offering up part of your soul.
I mean, this one doesn't involve me taking a monster into it, so go for it.
I don't know what your story is, Sitlali, says Voska. But if you were to do this and try to reduce that risk to 0, you might risk losing your connection to your own magic. You might risk blocking your own tea. Life just might get harder and more painful for you if you do this.
And I think Sitlali throws their head back and laughs at that.
How about this? I attempt the procedure without intervention, and if I need it, I'll ask you.
Fine.
Okay. Oka, are you ready?
I tried to make her comfortable. I took the pain away, so it was painless. I'm sorry. She was a good friend to us. She was good to us.
Thank you. I'll see you on the other side. And Voska sort of closes their hand into a fist, and you just sort of slip into unconsciousness. We pull up to the living room. While the soul surgery is taking place, I think amidst, the winding down of the evening, we find Jiran.
I think as everybody is sort of like helping clean up and putting stuff away, Jiran is going to take another sort of like mug of like whatever whatever juice or sort of drink we've been having, takes one for themselves and then takes an extra and walks over to Dewey. I hear you're a researcher.
I was.
So what happened?
Well, you've heard of the URL, right?
Yeah, they make really cool things from what I've heard. I was never really good with my hands and like building things, but it seems like really exciting research.
Exciting is one way to put it. They also make, monstrosities and terrible things.
The way that the Chrysalis does. Are they making monsters too?
Yeah, I'm not sure what their relationship is there, but yes, in that same vein.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. Did you ever get close to that?
I was always more of a hardware sort of person, but I mean, we weren't supposed to ask questions. But yeah, I found out that not like the soul stuff, but some of the stuff that I made was used to commit atrocities against people,
And Jiran just kind of like is holding his mug in his hand and just kind of like nods slowly. Wow.
Sorry, that's
No, I'm sorry that your work was misused in that way.
Yeah, well, it just makes me more careful about, more cognizant of what the stuff I do now has, like, what it's being used for.
Do you still make stuff?
Sometimes. I mean, it's a little bit harder now that I don't have the resources I had at the URL. Like,
Can I see?
I was gonna pull out the sword song, but I'm like, wait a second, that's broken and also has weird. Actually, yeah. Let me show you this big. He pulls this big ass sword out. So it was originally just like a mechanical sword. It was protecting me when I was sleeping or whatever, and then it got bonked, and now it has like it's sentient or something.
Wait, you made a sword that's also a person?
I didn't make it a person. I don't know if it's a person. I made it a machine, and then a desk fell on it, and now it talks to me.
Did a desk fall on it after it became a person?
No, it fell on it, and then immediately afterwards it became a person. Well,
Jiran like brings his face down closer to the sword in Dewey's hands.
I wouldn't.
Just goes, "Hello, sword. What's his name? Does it have a name?"
I've just been calling it my sword son. Be careful, it loves violence.
Hello, Dewey's sword son. How are you?
Absolutely nothing happens. It doesn't respond. You don't hear a voice in your head, Dewey. It doesn't quiver. Nothing.
Nothing on your end?
No. Are you shy? I'm sorry. I don't mean to make you uncomfortable. Maybe it's just, children. They can be like that.
Right.
I heard that you have a daughter. Dr. Oluso was mentioning it when we were all getting debriefed, I guess, on.
Oh, our personal histories are part of that debrief, huh?
Not anything in depth. I just was told that you're a father. I guess of two people now, like pointing at the sword.
It's complicated, and he puts the sword back, I think. Yeah, I have a daughter, but I haven't really been in contact with her since the Cataclysm, or for a little while before that either.
Is she okay?
It sounds like it. The letter I got was telling me that she was fine, but also that the URL is setting up some shelters in Uhanahi, which is not great.
The same people that are making the okay. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
That doesn't sound good. No.
Conflict of interest.
Are you planning on going back for your daughter?
Yes. My original plan was like to make right the stuff I did wrong with the URL, and then go back to her. And then the cataclysm happened, and now I'm pretty sure the URL will shoot me on sight if I get anywhere near them. But yes,
Maybe,
eventually.
well, if you can figure out a way to get there, we actually, Gentle stole a boat for us back in near Uhanahi, actually, while we were over there. So if you ever needed transportation.
Sorry, you stole a boat?
Yeah, it's a long story. There was this person that was trying to kill us, and so she like put mind control over Mercy or something, so we stole her boat. Either way, the point being that there's transportation if you need it to go
You have
to
a boat. I mean, historically, we don't treat boats very well. We blew up the last one, although it was a URL ship, so
maybe you don't be the one that sails it then.
no, we have Manaya.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to go back, right? It's your daughter. You're gonna do whatever it takes to protect the people you love, right?
I'm trying to.
I think that's all we can do.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I know that. Just sometimes feels like that's not enough, you know?
Can I ask you a question, Dewey?
Sure.
You're the paragon of Galtanger, right?
Probably.
Probably?
It depends on if I can prove to Taktoa Kagan she wants me to do some funny little challenge.
Okay, well, presumably, if you are the paragon of Galtanger and you have a daughter, what do you think of all of this? You know, I'm sure Oka must have told you about the paragons and your fate.
Yeah, I mean, we all have someone that we're doing all of this for, right? And for me, it's my daughter, and I just wanted to make things right and give back to her, and I don't know. Like I said, with the challenge that the Kagan proposed, like, what if I don't succeed? And she takes over being a paragon, and I'm just some dude?
And Jaron kind of like leans into Dewey at this point and like kind of lowers his voice. It seems like the paragons are chosen, and people who think they're a paragon but aren't, it doesn't really work out very well from them. So, and then like leans back. I think, given that you are the paragon of Galtanger, don't you think that your daughter deserves to have a father even after you've saved Andake?
A father like me, though. Ideally, yeah. That's why, I was like, I built a god jar to try and like store god shards, and then it got stolen and used against me.
Wait, we can do that? That's possible?
I mean, I didn't test it out because it got stolen right before I got the chance to test it out.
Okay, Dewey, I think we need to exchange notes.
Okay, so like this isn't a terrible idea, right?
No, that actually sounds like a really good idea, because then if we could put the god shards into a jar, then the paragons wouldn't have to worry about yourselves, right?
Yeah. See, like no one else this thread of logic just doesn't make sense to anyone else.
No, okay, thank you. Okay, nobody else agrees with me as well that the paragons could theoretically live after this war that's supposed to happen, but I think with your idea, Dewey, I think there's something there.
That's all I needed to hear.
And I think Jaron like excitedly like pulls out like a notebook and like starts showing Dewey like different like research and like theories and like threads that he has been compiling at this point, and is like asking Dewey to like share what he knows as well.
Really impressive research.
Thanks. I've had a lot of time to work on it.
I think, Jaron, as you're excitedly showing Dewey all this stuff, we pan to a different corner of the living room as you just start like spewing like theories at each other, or mostly it's Jaron spewing it at Dewey, and Dewey's just sort of sitting there like, okay. And we find V. V, why don't you tell us where you are in this space?
Actually, could V be outside with the chickens and maybe with the Rev, perhaps? I think V has used a sorcery point, so she has cold resilience, so she's fine outside. She's with her chickens and Rev, and she's nervous, but I think after there's some like awkward tension between Rev, V, and the chickens, I think V is thank you for coming to my wedding.
V, amidst the chickens, with Rev, who I think like her feather cape has gotten longer and thicker to sort of like accommodate the cold weather, and it's sort of like wrapped around her. She almost kind of looks like Howl, and Howl's like wings are like wrapped around himself, and he's sort of like in crow form. She sort of like huddles next to you.
I appreciated you being at my wedding. I noticed that you seemed also a little off, and I know you were fine about the wedding. Like, that's not an issue, but I want to maybe check in real quick about what you were feeling that day.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have missed your wedding. It's your wedding. I wouldn't have missed it for the world, of course. And Lotus makes you happy, so that's what's important, right? Hold on. Is this a what are we conversation? 'Cause I thought we had that already.
Okay. Well, it's 8 months. We've got 8 months, and I did make a promise to you that you would always be number one, that you were my main person, and V is fumbling in her pocket a little bit, and she's getting real nervous. And I just feel like it is unfair to not, and V slowly goes down on a knee, and she pulls out, she's got a handful of the rings that she stole from one of the royal, and she searches, she's like, I know it's here somewhere. She found like the biggest ring, and she's like, I cannot go through these final 8 months and face what we have to face without giving you this symbol. Rev, will you marry me?
V, yes, I will. And she bends down and she kisses you.
And then, I think at one point they start to go up, and then V just like almost leaps into Rev's arms, and Rev maybe carries V, and V is just holding on so tight. I don't think Rev has ever felt V hug her this tightly before.
Oh my goodness, what? V! Oh my god, yeah, Rev hugs you back and kisses you and just like holds you and squeezes you, and then like after like what feels like a million years and also no time at all, she sort of like releases you but still holds you close. Are you sure this is what you want with me?
Look, I'm under legal obligation to follow my heart, courtesy Scott of Nectus. You gotta know, this is exactly what I want.
It's what I want too, but I didn't want to pressure you, and I don't want it to be like I was copying Lotus, because she did it first, but I love you so much.
None of this in my life. When we were traveling here, I looked at you one night when you were sleeping, and I was the happiest I've ever felt in my entire life. And I wouldn't have that without you, so I want, in these final 8 months, to just have that with you as much as possible.
Me too. Me too, V. That's all I want. Go out with a bang.
Let's just make that the wedding party, is final showdown with the stranger.
What? It's gonna RSVP.
Well, it'd be quite the guest of honor.
You know what? Thank you, V. I feel, I've always loved you, and I've always known that I love you and that you love me, obviously, but this makes me feel good. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Rev just sort of leans down and kisses you again. And like on the two of you kissing, I think a flurry of snow comes down, right? And like wipes us into a later evening. I think we open on Oka's eyes opening up. Oka, you sort of like come back into a fuller awareness of your body, and you see 3 faces. I think maybe like leaning over you, looking down. You see Voska, Dr. Oluso, and Sitlali. And the edges of Dr. Luso's laboratory start drawing into closer focus, right? And Dr. Luso sort of like their voice swims into consciousness, and you hear that they've been saying, okay, are you okay, Oka? Can you hear me? Are you doing okay? Voska, is everything okay? Are they okay?
And I think Oka just like sits up, and yes, they are gonna accidentally headbutt all 3 of them somehow. Incredible, beautiful. Oh, sorry. Everything good?
And I think when you speak, Voska and Dr. Luso both narrow their eyes at you, like kind of, because we see a flash of blue behind your teeth. Oka, can you talk
What?
again?
Yes.
Can you
What?
open your mouth? Open your mouth.
Bleh.
And Oka, your tongue is dark blue.
They can't see their own tongue, I think. No. I just tried.
Sit loud when you see it.
Your tongue's blue.
My what?
Mhm.
Why? What? And they do the thing where they try to look at their own tongue. They can't. What is that normal? Is that why? Is it
Voska
blue?
Voska speaks up and says, well, I mean, this is uncharted territory, so I frankly don't really know what's normal here. My guess, now that your soul is completely whole, with no cracks to speak of, and Vinash is in there as well, but not a part of you. Don't worry, the procedure was a success. My guess, my theory, is that you're now becoming more and more Telian-like. So don't be surprised if you start to have Telian-like cravings and urges.
What, like for vegetables and peace?
Dr. Oluso says, yes. You might become vegetarian, like meat repulse soon. And don't be surprised, Voska was mentioning this, if you start becoming conflict or violence averse.
Violence averse? Violence averse? I didn't. If I knew I would be violence averse, I would have.
Okay, Vinash
that's
is still
obviously-
there.
That's obviously not that. Thank you. I feel. They try to look at their tongue again, but I feel better. I think. I don't really feel super different.
That's okay. Voska was telling us about how it's a gradual process. It's not going to be some sudden revelation, and now everything that you didn't realize was weighing you down is now gone. It might take weeks, if not months, to sort of settle into the rhythm of. Your body might undergo some other kinds of changes. The blue tongue, okay, that was unexpected. I don't know if you'll start to grow scales or a snake tail or antlers, but we should be on the lookout for those changes.
Did you say snake tail?
Voska says, yes. Many Telian have snake tails.
Oka stands up. They kind of subtly, not very subtly at all, kind of pat their butt. No tail. Okay. I'm going to go upstairs and pretend that I am not part of the monster that killed me and that I killed also. So, Lolly, can I help you up the stairs?
I actually wanted to ask Voska something, if there's a minute.
Yes, why don't we leave the two of you alone? And, okay, let's show everyone your blue tongue?
Do we have to show everyone?
No. I was just trying to
Yes.
find a way out of this conversation. Please come with me up the stairs. Now?
Yep.
And Oka, yeah, you go along with Dr. Oluso up the stairs, and Sitlali, you hear the door clunk shut behind the two of them.
But Lily just kind of like sits down casually and looks exhausted and just kind of. So, I'm not a paragon, right? I am accepting this about myself. But I did house an emissary of one for a hot minute, and I made it a lot of promises, and then it got taken out of me very abruptly. Are there holes? Is my soul shattered?
Would you like me to take a look?
Yeah.
Voska steps toward the table and sort of like cranks a cinch or something, and it comes down a little bit. Gestures for you to get on it. And
I
Voska
do
sort of...
begrudgingly.
Yes. I know, this is quite an undignified position for someone to be in. But it helps me access the soul better. And Voska sort of like runs a hand through their like snowy white hair. They slick it back again. And they settle over you. They look like down over you and they say, again, don't struggle. Just relax and try to breathe. They move their hands over your chest and they begin to like pull your soul up and out through the pores of your torso. So Sitlali, why don't you tell me, what is the color of your soul?
You know, questions that you're always prepared to answer at the table. I think it's like that pink accent in their hair. I think it's that, primarily. I assume, if there's only one color.
You see this like pinkish glow sort of shimmer up into the air above your torso, and Voska sort of tilts their head to the side, and they sort of like gently swirl it around with a lot less force than they did with Oka's. I think they like swirl it around, and they sort of pull it up and out so they can like see like deeper into it, kind of like a hologram almost, and they're like going through the hologram like a Tony Stark moment. They sort of pull through the different threads and beads of light in your soul until it's sort of like glimmering like a miniature constellation above both of your heads and a dome around you. And Voska says, yes, I see traces of a presence here. Something that left indelible marks on the interior of your soul. This emissary, did it give itself a name? Did it call itself anything?
It called itself Lonely.
Emissary of the Raven Queen. Lonely. That sounds familiar. Sounds like a
Really?
sorrow sword. And they sort of like pull their hands closer and like pull the hologram back into a denser ball over your chest. Do you know what sorrow sworn are, Sitlali?
Yes, I paid quite a lot of attention in school.
Then you should know that housing one inside your soul will, of course, take quite a toll on you, spiritually speaking.
So how bad?
It ripped you up pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I can try to help, but a lot of the recovery here will depend on you.
Great.
The good news is the crack is not as severe as Oka's. Your soul wasn't shattered by Lonely. Lonely just tore it up a little. But all of it is still there. It's just hurt.
I suppose that'll be good enough. And they get up.
Oh, careful. And they like sink your soul like back into you. Here, these might help. And Voska reaches into like the folds of their robes and they pull out like a little satchel, like a little handful of like herbs. You have a tea maker in your party, no?
We do?
Give these to them. It's a loose leaf. They should know how to steep it and brew it.
Oh, okay. How many times a day, Doctor?
Twice a day until they're gone.
Okay. Cool.
They should help. I'm sorry. I know that the answer I'm giving you is not as clear-cut as, oh, I'll just do some acupuncture and fix you.
Honestly, I thought that there was going to be a giant hole inside of me, so this is better.
Don't worry. All of your soul is still there. It's still yours. It still belongs to you. That's very good news. It's just
Till
in
I
pain.
decide to give it away again.
This isn't my place. So take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, and you can take it or leave it. But your soul and you are worth something. You don't have to treat yourself like an expendable resource.
You're right. It's not your place to say. And I head towards the stairs.
Twice a day.
We'll see.
And as we like push up the stairs with Sitlali, we see this crackling fire in the heart of the hearth. And we see pillows and blankets and little mats all strewn about. Rev has come back indoors with V, and I think has like insisted that V and her huddle up like right next to the fireplace with like a big mug of tea in the bespoke tea mugs that Gentle has procured. places like her feathered cape around V, right, and is like giggling. Not giggling. Rev doesn't giggle. She chuckles in a very masculine way. Chuckling in a very sexy masculine way and like pulling V close with one arm around V's shoulder, etc. We also see Squeak sort of just like with Costas and Voska, and just sort of like squeaking along and like talking to the two of them in like one corner about stuff. And I think Dr. Oluso is also up there and is sort of like bustling from the dining room into the kitchen to help like bus dishes and like clean stuff up. And I think that we find like a kind of like moment of quiet here in the cottage as like evening winds down into like midnight or like the early hours of the morning, and the warmth of the fire suffuses every nook and cranny in this space. So I guess I kind of want to just like go down the line and see what each person's up to, like a quick maybe vignette to sort of like tie up the session. So let's actually start with Gentle.
I had a feeling. Actually, I think for my vignette, I'm probably maybe near Duran, talking about like how the cold weather reminds us of Morose, maybe reminiscing a little bit about home.
Duran just like has a mug of probably one of Gentle's brews that he's sipping on as they're talking, and they are just kind of like swapping stories about like probably of like their childhood and days from before the cataclysm, and maybe even talking a little bit about like what would it be like to go back to Morose now, because we haven't been back in quite some time.
I absolutely plan on going back with Bud. I mean, he's got to see his home too. Can't wait, honestly.
Speaking of which, I think we now like pan fully over to Duran as maybe you're like sort of reminiscing with Gentle. Where do we find you for the rest of the night?
Duran is kind of like going back and forth between like sitting down and like talking to Gentle, but then also with his other like free hand is always kind of like searching for Oka. So like occasionally he'll just kind of like move his hand to like hold on to Oka's and like make contact again, or to just like rub their hand like along their back or something like that, just as a gesture of like connection physically, to remind themselves that they are here together again for the first time in a very, very long time.
And I think Oka, they'd come up and everyone saw their blue tongue, and they were like kind of like, I think, talking with Mercy for a while. I think maybe the second or third time that Duran like reaches out to touch them again, they kind of like look over their shoulder, and then just without even breaking conversation with whoever they were talking to, they just kind of lay their head down on Duran's lap and just kind of like settle in like that, so that they're always touching.
Cute. And is that where we find you for the rest of the night as well, Oka?
Yeah, I think so. Just quiet, chatting around the fire. And I think they're just kind of like playing with the now empty chisel. Like they have it like tipped on its sharp point, and they're just kind of like rocking it back and forth, almost like a habit that they can't quite let go of. They haven't like taken it off yet.
Speaking of like talking with Mercy, right? Mercy sort of conversing in sort of like boisterous tones with you, Oka, as you lay your head on Duran's lap, which she really teases the two of you about relentlessly. She sort of laughs and turns to look at Sitlali.
Sitlali is curled up against Mercy in the same way, so like, pot meat kettle. I think they're just writing in their big fat journal that they don't let anybody look at.
And I think we're going to pan over down to Dewey. Where do we find you?
I think Dewey is hunched over one of his notebooks, working on his jar plan again, with a fervor you haven't seen in a long time. Out of like being excited for this plan, having support, and also out of trying to keep his mind off of other things, namely the letter, which is sitting out of his reach.
Mm-hmm. I think as we like pan just out of your reach to the letter, we like pan up to see and to find Abiku.
Abiku is standing near a window, clearly talking to a bird.
Oh my god.
Just like having a full conversation with like a bird, like holding a cup of tea, like as if catching up with a friend.
Oh my god. Okay. And I think we like see through the reflection of the frosted window that I think it's like a little crow, and it's sort of like, right? Like talking with you, updating you about all the goings on at the chasm. We see in the reflection the fire again. And we like sort of like zoom in on the reflection, and we see the fire in its like actual form, and we see Rev's face sort of lit up warmly by the licking flames, and next to her, V. So V, how are you spending the rest of your night here?
Oh, I think V and Rev are pretty cuddled up, and I think V is being particularly more girly than probably you normally see. Not quite as bad as the wedding day, but still pretty bad. But at one point, V and Oka's eyes meet, and V gets an idea, and she quickly reaches down to one of the pouches on her waist, and she pulls out it's another little sack that is adorned with all of the markings from the betting parlor at the Slumbering Palace, and she tosses it over to Oka. She says, "Hey, catch!" And inside is 25 gold pieces.
What's this?
Well,
You don't give gold away. What are you doing?
Two things. I ran a scam for a long time as Makoya, and I made a bit of money from it at the time, and I felt like you deserved it. And number two, this is my apology for things when I was kind of a jerk to you in the Court of Ravens, where I transformed into Makoya's image. I called you a ghost, and I've realized that it wasn't that I was with a ghost in the Court of Ravens. It's that Makoya was the ghost, so that an Oka could live. And I just wanted to give you this as a token of being sorry for what I did then. And you've been there for me a lot since we met. And I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate you.
So she does have a conscience. Thanks.
Only when
V.
I'm in love. And she nestles back into Rev.
And Oka pockets 25 gold pieces, I suppose.
And I think on all of you just sort of settled in on this big cuddle pile and whatnot. Dr. Oluso bustling to and fro, dropping in on your conversations occasionally, helping you all out. I think with a hand lingering on Oka's shoulder, right, occasionally, and going over, saying hello to the bird and Abiku, we sort of pull out of this frosted window, within which we see this warm glow of merriment and camaraderie. And for now, no more conflict. We pull out of this cottage. We see the chicken pens with a thin blanket of snow covering the hutch. We see the barn with also some snow on the roofing and the tiling. We pull out, we see the training dummies now rhymed over with some frost. We pull out past the archway, past the copses of Badlands trees, past the thick line, that dark tenebrous wound in the earth, which is the Euclid chasm. We see snow just wipe away this scene and carry us into white. And the end of our Arc 4 Interlude potluck episode. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in today. What a monster of an episode. And Austin's introduction of Abiku Ishtar. What? Undead bird lover? What? Birdwatcher Abiku confirmed into it. I have been your GM and producer, Connie, pronouns they, he, and she. Find me on Twitter and TikTok at @ByConnieChan. I'm going to pass along introductions to C.
Oh, hey, y'all. My name's C. I use they, them pronouns. I am a dancer, digital artist, tabletop streamer. You can find me anywhere on the internet at @PieSharpArt / streaming on Twitch and TikTok occasionally at @Pie_Sharp. You can also find me playing Invisible Sun on Sundays at 5 p.m. U.S. Central Time. So check that out if you're interested. I play a very big curse knight, and I'll pass things over to Max.
Hey, I'm Max. My pronouns are they, them. I played Dewey, got broken up with Quark. You can find me on the internet at Starchmonger on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Sometimes I post things. Pass to Erica.
Hi, everybody. I'm Erica, she, her pronouns, and I played V. I'm just getting married to everybody, not Scherzo. And you can find me at Erica Newgirl on all social media. Come watch me Twitch stream sometime. And I'll pass it to Humna.
Hello, everyone. My name is Humna. I use any and all pronouns, and I am a TTRPG performer. Today, I played Jaron Gother, who is starting a startup with Dewey for God Jars, so that's very exciting. You can find me on Twitter at @HShyhead_, where I talk about all of the different projects that I'm a part of. I am a part of a variety of different APs, so if you like what I do, follow me on Twitter. And I will pass that along to Quinn.
Hello, it's Quinn. I use they, she pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Quintastic_. I am a freelance game designer and sensitivity reader and a lot of other things. TM. I am currently looking for clients, so if you need things, I'm semi-open. We'll talk. Yeah, I'm gonna pass things to Dare.
Hi, I'm Dare, resident problem still. yeah, if you like this, you can check me out on Twitter, TikTok, yada 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 yada, at NBDare, ENBYDARE. I'm a game designer, writer, content creator. I do a lot of weird stuff, so just check me out. I'm gonna start video essays this year, so be prepared for that arc. And I'm just gonna pass it along to Austin.
Hey everybody, I'm Austin. My pronouns are he, they, and she. You can find me on Twitter at TaylorScottAustin. At Taylor SCT Austin. I am a professional game designer, narrative designer, podcaster. Follow me on Twitter for all of my most recent projects, and that is it for me.
Fantastic.
I played Abiku, totally eats dinner Ishtar.
Oh my god, I can't wait to see more of Abiku in the future. Fantastic. So everyone, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for donating. We love y'all so much. We will see you next week. That's going to be Saturday, January 22nd for episode 1. Woo! Of Arc 5. What? Minds blown. Thank you all so much. Love you. And Spizo Bizo.